Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Meow, that's right.
All right, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, and that can only mean one thing. It is time, everyone, for the one and only Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster, and we are set for another night of amazing pop culture discussion with an all-star panel. Big welcome to everyone. I'm seeing a lot of green in the chat today, which I do love because that means we're seeing a lot of channel members in the chat tonight. I see Lisa B. I see JPS. I see... Bubba CMT. I'm seeing Aubrey. Very, very, very happy to see all you guys. And I'm very happy to see my panel for the evening. Of course, folks, you know I can't do this alone, and I need my panel alongside me. Specifically, my co-host with the most, so epic that he has his own intro video. Hello, Mr. Kevin Apollo. How are you doing today?
My brother. How you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm feeling good because we actually have a good show to talk about this week. When we get to talking about the Penguin, I was so pleasantly surprised, like borderline delighted that it was this level of good, and utterly shocked.
Yeah, I didn't even like the Batman, and I'm like, wow, I'm into this. I will watch it. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the Batman, but we'll talk a bit about that later. Folks, also joining us this week, as always, here to appeal to a broader demographic, the one, the only broad in this demographic, the one and only Trish.
Yes, hi. The resident broad. Hi, everybody.
I literally thought of it as I was saying it. I'm like, oh, it's too good not to say.
Broads, am I right?
Yeah.
Broads.
Broad. Trish, my friend, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. I heard you guys are good. I'd ask, but
you watched Agatha, so I'm
I
assuming
did.
you're not all that great. No.
We'll get into it.
We will get into it. But folks, joining us this week also normally shows up later in the show, but I am very pleased to announce the Law Master himself, the man who knows more about, who has forgotten more about entertainment than you will ever know. But that's actually not true because he forgets nothing. He is Lorne Connor.
Lord.
I'm really glad you brought a dame to class up the joint.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for calling me a dame and not a broad. I appreciate that.
Let's see how many outdated references we could, how many 1920s gangster references for women.
Yeah, broad.
Yeah, where's the skirt?
We'll have to get the Brits in here to call you a bird. But also, folks, joining us this week from his own channel, where he is the master of obscure video game knowledge and lost media, the one, the only, the cat master himself, Nolan Thunder.
Hello, everybody. Speaking of outdated references, you're talking about Lauren, and I just couldn't help but think of the old Chuck Norris jokes and stuff like Lauren never forgets. Like, he doesn't sleep. He waits.
Yeah. When Lauren does push-ups, he's not pushing himself up. He's pushing the earth down.
Yes.
I like
Right.
that.
I'm in favor of this. Keep going. This is good.
Oh, okay.
Just keep stroking my ego. This is great.
Giraffes didn't exist until Lauren uppercut a horse.
Lauren gets, I'm the strongest guy in the world, and I get broad.
We also got Dame.
I did get Dame. Thank you, Lauren.
Good Lord. All right, here we go. So we have to start off with it, guys. I don't love starting off with it, but we kind of have to. We got to talk about Agatha all along, episode 3.
So before you jump into this,
yeah.
So having watched this episode twice, because I thought I fell asleep and missed something, because I did fall asleep, but I realized I missed nothing. This conversation should be all of 5 minutes because nothing happened.
Women drank wine.
That's it.
There's no charcuterie board, guys.
Okay, so let's talk about the references to wine moms that were made in this. Like, speaking to the demographic, we had the conversation about wine. We had a conversation about essential oils, sous vide, charcuterie boards, upholstery. I was like, wow, this is really made for a specific demographic that's not watching this show.
I did learn something, however. I did learn something.
Did you learn what a sous vide is?
Actually, I knew what that was because I watched Top Chef.
Oh, okay.
I learned because when all the ladies and team were standing around grabbing the wine glasses, Sarah, my wife, got very upset and said, "This is unrealistic. Wine bottles can only pour 4 to 5 glasses."
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing the inaccuracy. The whole show is ruined now.
I can't trust anything.
Now, Lauren Connor, Lauren, you were not here with us last week for our discussion. Do you want to briefly give us your thoughts on episodes 1 and 2? I know you did not hate it as much as you thought you were going to hate it, and I know this because we were on Pro's after party last night.
Yeah, I actually feel really glad that you guys all made it sound like it was going to physically hurt me, because it made the fact that it didn't easier to swallow. The cardinal sin of the show is that it's just boring. I don't care about anything that's happening in it. I don't care about the people. It's just boring. The characters are caricatures. There's nothing interesting going on. It telegraphs everything it's going to do way in advance. It's just not good. I think it does have some decent cinematography, and I think it has some decent music, and that's all the praise I can give it. The rest of it is just garbage. It's not anything that anybody with a functioning brain would be interested in watching. I do think Pro said it best after we had that conversation last night, though, is that it's actually just a cartoon. It really does feel like this is a cartoon made live action. If it was a cartoon, I actually think it'd be more palatable, because then some of the behavior and some of the way that people are acting might actually make a little more sense.
Yeah, that's actually true, Lauren. That would make sense if it was more of a the random singing actually would have made a lot more sense. Which so now I was on an episode of That Park Place where Alan Ng popped in, and he was talking to us a bit about he had seen the first 4 episodes. Alan Ng from Film Threat, who just put out a new D-Files, which by the way is an excellent read. And Alan said the song does come back. So I am expecting to hear some music next week.
The Fire Witch has got to find her mom, and her mom is the one that recorded the ballad. So that's where that'll come in.
Yeah.
I didn't actually have a problem with the song. You know, I know that people are getting sick of Disney doing this, but compared to what they did with the Witches and the Acolyte, I actually thought the song was fairly decent. So, but again, it sounded to me like something that would be out of an animated thing. And so that's kind of how I was centering it in my mind.
So for me, I actually don't hate the song itself. I actually think the song itself is kind of cool. But when I looked into the into where it was placed in the show and how it came up in the show, that I didn't like. Where I was like, we're gonna sing this and we're all gonna harmonize perfectly, and it was just a weird scene that I didn't like. So this episode, we found our witches walking down the witches road. We got some high comedy from the mom from That 70s Show, which, by the way, I was literally like, she better die by the end of this episode because she's very annoying.
Cursed tongue.
That's Kitty Foreman. How dare you?
I love Kitty Foreman. I love Kitty Foreman.
He is a treasure.
Here's the thing.
Right.
She was put into this, and I said this on Pro Show last night. She was put into this because somebody was like, we need something funny. Hey, you know who's funny? Kitty Foreman. Can we get her in this? And then they just forgot to write her funny things. This show is, you can always tell when someone who is not funny is attempting to write comedy.
You know how they could make this work?
I'll go for it.
If they did introduce Mephisto and it was red.
Oh. Dumbass.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
One of the few people from that show that's probably still safe to have on things. They're dropping like flies lately.
Oh, have they been getting into trouble from that 70s show?
Well, Ashton Kutcher and Diddy were like,
oh yeah, no, we yeah.
And then Mila Kunis is married to Ashton Kutcher, so that kind of ropes her into
right. So she's right into that. She's right in on that Diddy train.
Topher Grace knew what he was doing when he wasn't hanging out with them.
That was baby oil.
That was supposed to be baby oil. Well,
From
it could have been
Costco?
something else.
Oh,
It could have been something else because no.
Well, I'm sure there was a lot of that too.
No, so we found out yesterday that apparently in one of his houses they found 7 gallons of like breast milk.
What?
What is he holding?
Yeah.
Yes, the Chappelle skit came true.
Yeah.
Forget about Agatha. This is tell me more. Tell me more.
My favorite thing about the Diddy thing is how everyone's like, man, the Chappelle show, if the Chappelle show was still here, like it would be fire right now.
So I have 2 points to make. The first is that all I can picture is 2 4-gallon bags, and I'm trying to imagine what that volume looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is all milk is breast milk.
That's true. Whether it's but I pictured it in like some kind of drum, like some kind of drum that's just labeled breast milk.
I pictured actual milk gallons.
Oh, that would be the best. But it's like got the lady's face on it who supplied the milk, like it's
Exactly.
Certified 100% Peruvian.
I did not think about labeling. Sorry.
Puffy,
Oh,
it's
no.
pure Peruvian.
Ugh.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so anyway, we go down the Witch's Road, and then all of a sudden we find this beautiful and horribly rendered beach house, which we now have to go in because guess what? It is going to be an escape room. And now I feel like the universe prepared me for this episode this week because I did the first ever escape room I've ever done over the last weekend. My soon-to-be wife and my best friend and her significant other and her boyfriend, we all went to do an escape room together. And yeah, this was exactly what there was less wine, but it was there was more whining, but less wine because most of the whining came from me.
Marvin, I need to ask the most important question though. Did you guys successfully complete the escape room? Oh, you did?
Yes. Yeah. Look, here's the thing. We were under the impression that it was just going to be the 4 of us. And they were like, we got there and they're like, you're going to be teamed with these 4 strangers. And I was like, no, because there's nothing I hate worse than being paired with people I don't know for social things. I couldn't stand it when we were on a cruise. Well, so when we were on our last cruise, we got we were sat at a communal table with like 3 other couples or 2 other couples, I think. Yeah, there was a couple from Greece who were probably the most gorgeous. We were both like, my God, they're the most gorgeous human beings that have ever existed.
Andy and Danny.
Yeah, and a couple from Japan. And at first we were like livid about it, and then we eventually became friends with the other couples. So,
worked out.
This does sound like a sitcom plot line. It does make sense you guys became friends by the end of it.
Well, no, so the escape room situation, like we had to find all the stuff in the house. We had to put it all together. We had to solve the riddle. And then at the end, the oven door opens up and we have to climb through and we have to face the challenges. I was just waiting for one of them to wave at the camera in the corner to get the Witch's Road game master to give them a hint.
Did you guys have the thing where like you have like the guy who can give you hints, like the guy who gives you instructions over like the intercom system?
Yeah, that's what we have to do. That's what we had to do. The game master, they called him. You had to wave at the camera, and then the game master comes on and is like, it wasn't even like riddle. Like we had to vote on whether we wanted it to be riddles or whether it was going to be like, we'll just tell you what to do. And so literally like we'd wave and she'd be like, look in the teapot or something like that. Like it was very much.
when I did the Titanic one, it was really cool. Like the floor was slanted, but every
I'm
time
sorry, what?
Yeah, there was a Titanic themed one.
The Titanic one?
Yeah, we did it. The floor was themed. It's like you're on a sinking Titanic. It was themed super cool.
Please tell me that like water started rushing in, like salt water started rushing in to like take your lives.
I wish they had that budget, but you'd go like you'd bypass the bathroom and end up in like the cellar room, and they would have like a projector to make it look like it had like a window where the ship was sinking. But every time the guy on the intercom talked to me, I kept talking to him like, "Man, okay, God, can you give us a hint?"
The voice that speaks to me.
Yes.
Did Billy Zane pop up and yell, "You're my fiance"?
I knew where you were going with it. Every time I hear that, I just think of you. Every time.
Was there a King of the World moment where you could stand on the bow of the ship?
Oh no, it was all inside. But man, if we could have done the Never Let Go, that would have been. You guys, I'd make that my X profile picture. That's what I would do.
At the end of it, go ahead, Lauren.
I want to see you go on this again, Nolan, and take Kevin with you, and I want you to paint him like one of your French girls.
And then make that your icon.
Yes, then make that your
7 years.
Lord.
Laughing too much to get a good response to that.
So we get into the escape room. This is mostly an episode that's centered around the Candle Witch, and she is putting together this potion because they all drank poison, and all of our faces are all swollen up, and it's so hilarious. Oh, look at us, we all have like Botox now. The jokes in this show are painful, and it seems obsessed with trying to be funny. Have you guys noticed that? Like, just the humor in this show, it's so heavy-handed and so hacky. And like I said, it's people who are not funny trying to write comedy. And you cannot, just like you cannot write a character who is smarter than you, you cannot write a character who is funnier than you. And Jack Schaefer must maybe a lot of things. I enjoyed the first few episodes of WandaVision, but man, oh man, is she not funny.
I appreciated that she jammed in that Mephisto reference to make up for not doing it in WandaVision, because
I know.
I guess that apple's still dangling from the tree 3 years later.
Well, she didn't know who Mephisto was. You remember that interview when she said that she had no idea who Mephisto was? And I was just thinking, you're writing a Marvel show. Okay, cool.
I heard the reference and I was like, well, I know it's going to be brought up tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Better late than never.
So do you guys think that the Mephisto reference was just like a little like handout to the fans, or do you think that it was more of a like dropping a hint for what's going to be coming in the future?
Just assume it's nothing. I think it's safer if you just assume it's nothing.
I assume that the white male who will be cast as Mephisto will be used to finally make Agatha something that vaguely resembles a likable and redeemable character.
Well, they gave her that moment.
Utterly unlikable.
They did start with that moment when Teen was going to go drink it, and she went like, no, like she stopped him. But I got the impression it was supposed to be like, I don't want you to do this because it will hurt you.
Right.
That was the impression I got from it. So I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. She's starting she's got a little bit of a soft spot for the kid. Okay, I got it.
I don't know.
That's how I took it.
So I actually think it would be a huge mistake not to show Mephisto in this show because of the nature of the show and what they're doing with it.
Right.
So my question for you is, who would you cast? I'm actually not necessarily kidding about having Red Foreman, but my second choice, I think, if they could get him, which they never could, would be Harvey Keitel.
Oh, God, that would be tremendous. Yeah. He was great as the devil in Little Nicky.
maybe that's the maybe that's
sorry,
the role
I was slow on that one.
Maybe that's the role that Al Pacino was interviewing for a while. Remember there was a whole thing about Al Pacino interviewing for a role at Marvel, and nothing ever came of it. And we thought he was going to be Baron Mordo. We thought he was going to be Baron Mordo, and for like a month we kept doing the "My Lord and Master Dormammu."
He's got a great wand.
Oh my god. By the way, thank you to the Doctor Strange movie for finally showing everyone how to actually pronounce Dormammu, and we stopped getting people saying Dormammu because I hated that. I absolutely hated that. Okay, so we go. So now all the witches now start to have flashes of their past. We have Patti LuPone somewhere in, I believe, Sicily, because she was speaking like a Sicilian dialect of Italian. Then you had Candle Witch was dealing with some white man who apparently took her agency. We're assuming this is the guy that bound her magic. He called her, what did he call her, an inconvenient woman or something like that?
Inconvenient woman.
So we all know where that storyline is going.
It reminded me of the Sabretooth's father scene. Y'all know, son of mine.
We had Asian middle-aged Asian witch meeting up with her mother, which I'm sure we're going to get. I believe we're supposed to get more of in the next episode. It is supposed to be centered more around. It's going to be her escape room. So pretty much every episode of this show is going to be another escape room. They're
like the Planeteers. They all get an episode before Captain Planet shows up.
Well, now, so apparently they're trying to dangle a red herring in front of us about Teen by trying to make it sound like he's Agatha's son. I guess this was their brilliant way to try to totally make us think that he's totally not Wiccan, even though he's totally Wiccan.
I do have a potentially spoilery theory on where they're going to go with this. So in modern Marvel, which I love to refer to as the condominium of refurbished concepts and no longer the house of ideas.
Yes.
It just sounds like modern Hollywood.
Probably, yeah.
We de-aged Agatha so that she looks like her WandaVision equivalent.
But, have they done that?
Yeah. She goes in this totally out of character quest to recapture the Darkhold, which was never really a thing that she did until WandaVision. And at the end of it, she casts the spell, but the Avengers interrupt it. And then there's big light in the sky explosion. Everybody gets separated, and she washes up on a beach, and there's a little boy there. And when she asks who his parents are, she realizes that she created a Darkhold in boy form. So I'm assuming, because we teased the baby, we teased the baby in the bassinet, and then it was the book. I have a feeling they may be redeeming Agatha by giving her another kid.
That could make sense. And I think they're definitely gonna reintroduce the Darkhold in some way, shape, or form. So we'll have to see. Now the rumor that she gave up her child to possess the Darkhold, I'm assuming that's gonna have something to do with Aubrey Plaza's character, because it seems like they have a past. She's got to come back in the next episode, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
She's been gone now for 2 episodes, and she's supposed to be one of the main characters in this. Yeah, so interesting to see where they're going to go. The show is just painfully boring. I very much do not like it. It's just nothing. So now here's the reason why I don't hate it as much as I hate the Acolyte. The Acolyte meant more to Star Wars as a whole, because the Acolyte, reworked what the Force was. The Acolyte changed the concept of Anakin Skywalker being the chosen one. It introduced Darth Plagueis in a way that he should not have been introduced. It was about to character assassinate Yoda. It character assassinated Ki-Adi-Mundi. The Acolyte has a much bigger reverberating presence in the Star Wars universe, and I don't think Agatha is going to have a single impact on the Marvel universe as a whole, other than putting Wiccan into the Marvel universe.
Well, thoughts? I think it's about. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think it's about intent of purpose. We know what Acolyte was constructed to do. Leslie had her marching orders. If you want to play in the sandbox, I need you to make sure you get these things accomplished. Mm-hmm. And she systematically attacked. She systematically attacked it piece by piece, checked it off, checked her assignment off, and then told her not story. Now, this is just relatively inoffensive. It's just another, it's an all connected thing, like here, it's almost like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here's some stuff that if you watch the movies, you know what's going on. But if you never watch this, it's not going to really impact anything. Although I'm hoping that we do get to the point where Agatha Harkness can just show up and be Franklin Richards' nanny, like how she should have been introduced as.
Right.
If we ever get that far.
I mean, look, to get to Franklin Richards, we're going to have to get at least 4 Fantastic Four movies, right? Like,
no, I hope they just skip it. Let's Sue just be pregnant. We don't need all the pomp and circumstance. Let's get to the big stuff.
I don't know. It would depend on whether Reed and Sue are already going to be married. If you're going to start her off as Sue Storm, or if you're going to start her off as Sue Richards. So
smart people can guess.
So this is 9 episodes, guys. We're 3 in. There are 6 episodes left of this. How much more escape room nonsense they've got to get away from the escape rooms at some point? It's gotta event. But though somebody had basically said that they think somebody's going to die in almost every episode.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, because there's a line in the trailer where Aubrey Plaza says something about like we're losing bodies or something like that. So I mean, I go ahead, Lauren.
It'd be a lot quicker if they just killed the audience.
Well, I'm pretty sure the audience is already dead. Nolan, you would say
I was just going to ask, does that mean the show just slowly gets better and better because more and more of the annoying characters just die all of a sudden?
No, unfortunately, the writers will not leave the show the way the characters will, so it's still going to be bad. But yeah, just there's not really much to say even about the episode because it was that level of bad. But I do want to talk about some good stuff. I do want to talk about the Penguin on Max. Now, when the Penguin was announced, I rolled my eyes harder than just about anyone because I had a rule that I said to myself, I will no longer watch Batman properties that do not feature Batman. That was my whole thing. I don't want to see another Batman show that doesn't have Batman in it. But for, this had some buzz online. I was like, I'm probably going to talk about it. All right, I got the channel. Let's watch it. Sat down. I watched it. I was hooked by the end of the first scene. Kevin, that first scene where Falcone's son comes in. He was played by Joel from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which a show that I love, by the way. That scene, it was just incredible. It gave you a great sense of who Oswald Cobblepot is in this world. Colin Farrell owns this role. The makeup is fantastic on him. They mentioned Batman one time in the beginning and then never mentioned him again, and I was fine with it because I was so caught up in the plot of the show that I forgot that there was a Batman in this Gotham City.
If you they released a bunch of papers that brought you up to speed on everything that happened from the end of the Batman up to the first episode of Penguin.
Right, with the seawall coming down and all that stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty neat. So if there's, they gave us a reason why Batman won't be around, and it makes sense in the greater scheme of things. He's, it's probably more important for him to be Bruce than it's for to be Batman rebuilding the city and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So the
other thing is it's a big city and there's only one Batman. It's the Penguin, as long as the Penguin is not like, this all seems to be internal mob struggles where there's not a lot of civilian crossfire, and that's not a thing the Batman is going to typically involve himself with, especially not this Batman, because this Batman is a Batman that actually stops muggers, which is the first time we've ever had that in a movie.
Yeah, he didn't do much of anything else though. He just kind of did a Kurt Cobain impression and had everybody else solve all the mysteries for him, and then didn't actually win in the end. So, but that's all I have to say about that very boring movie.
Lauren, what did you think of the Batman?
I actually liked it better than I expected to.
I thought it
had a terrible ending, but I'm not a fan of Robert Pattinson, but I thought the movie did a great job of showing Gotham City. And I really liked its version of Gotham. And I loved the Tumbler, but I liked this Batmobile too. And so I was actually willing to say, you know what? I'm interested in seeing what more you can do with this. I wouldn't put the Batman up there with, say, the Nolan trilogy at all. But I think it has potential. And I think with a little bit more refinement, it could be something. It could be something that could be interesting. I am interested in the Penguin, but haven't seen it yet. So
So now, what did you think about Colin Farrell as the Penguin in that movie?
Thought he was great. Really loved his performance in that movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the characterization, but I thought he did a phenomenal job. I like my Oswald a little cleaner, and I want to be.
You want the aristocrat.
Like my family doesn't have as much money as the Waynes, but we want our due. But they dove into what I like about the modern Penguin, and that he is not so much an active villain. He's just villainous. He likes having control. He's essentially the crime equivalent of Batman. He has his dirty little fingers and everything. Nothing happens without his permission. He has a set of rules. And he is a controlling influence inside of Gotham that all of the villains kind of have to, like, all right, I'm not going to blow up this neighborhood unless I, one, buy the weapons from Oswald, two, he gives me the blessing. The only person who's allowed to kind of do whatever he wants to do is Joker, and even Joker kind of checks in. So I like that we're kind of building to a character that could potentially become that.
Kevin, sorry.
No, go ahead,
Did you ever read Jeff Johns' Batman Earth 1?
I did.
Yes. I love the first arc. I love that arc.
Is that your version of the Penguin? Because that's exactly what you're describing there when he's the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I loved Mayor Cobblepot. I loved the Mayor Cobblepot.
Go ahead.
I love the way that he used the birthday boy, and I thought that's actually a really good story arc. I enjoyed all of the Batman Earth 1. It's a totally different take, but I really liked it. As a departure from normal Batman, that one really pleased me.
I really liked kind of what the Telltale games did something very different with the Penguin. He was kind of a contemporary of Bruce, like they were the same age, and they were raised kind of in that aristocrat Gotham, upper echelon high society together. And the Penguin was the Cobblepots were eventually deposed and lost all their money, and now he was kind of back, and Bruce was kind of in his crosshairs because he was everything that he wanted to get back to. I thought that was interesting. I mean, look, but I also have a special place in my heart for the Burgess Meredith. I mean, with the trick umbrellas and
feathered finks.
Well, then you've got the Arkham Penguin too, who I think is probably my favorite version of the character.
The Bob Hoskins kind of version of the Penguin. Yeah,
I love how his monocle is literally like a beer bottle lodged into near his eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that might be the most definitive Penguin. Would I be wrong on that? Arkham City?
No, I think the most definitive Penguin is still the Burgess Meredith kind of, the top hat and tails and the umbrellas. But it's up there. It's definitely up there. I loved when they did Batman the animated series. They had to inject elements of the movies into the animated series because the movies were what was big at the time. So he had to have the flipper, like the deformed flipper hands, but they still made him the
gentleman.
They made him the gentleman. They made him the aristocrat. Like, remember the
the romance episode?
No, the Almost Got Him episode when he's like, my aviary of doom, and Joker's like, aviary of doom.
I threw a rock at him.
I threw a rock at him.
I do appreciate the second that show left Fox, they immediately turned him back into Burgess Meredith.
Yeah, they did. But now this show, it reminded me, Kevin, of more of like a grittier Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
But starting from, because Oswald is not the boss here. He's just like he's definitely a captain, I think. And he's trying to by the end of this, I think we're going to see him take the Falcones down and establish himself as the true crime lord of Gotham.
So I've got a question about this then, because Falcone was in the Batman.
Yes.
And if I remember right, I think he died, didn't he?
He did. The Riddler kills him. The Riddler does kill him.
Is this a prequel series, or is this taking place after the...
No, it's
right after he died. They're borrowing they're borrowing all the kids from the Long Halloween.
Got it.
So
Okay.
His death is a major plot point in the first episode. It's kind of what pivots everything to go where it goes.
Oh, Nolan, you watched it?
Yes, I did. I don't need to see nude penguin in my life ever again, but yes, I did watch it.
I also need him to wear shoes from now on in every episode because they showed his mangled up foot, and I was so grossed out by that.
To not spoil too much, obviously, for our audience who's probably going to want to check it out, especially with the high praise we've been giving it throughout this. I really thought when he got that ring, which I won't give the context of it, I legit thought he was going to put that ring on his gross penguin toes. That was going to be like a symbolism for like, you all are beneath me now.
It's just a little gouge.
You're gonna make Trish.
I'm sorry, Trish. The penguin is gross.
It's nothing a Epsom salt couldn't cure.
He couldn't get
somehow
he couldn't get the ring on. He's got webbed feet.
He is somehow more gross in this than he is in Batman Returns. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, no, he is. So that first scene with Alfredo Falcone, that was his name, right? Alfredo.
Yeah.
Dude, that character, I was like, man, I can't wait until he kills this guy because
you know who he reminded me.
Go ahead, Nolan.
You know what John Wick 2, John Wick, the first one, that one guy who kind of sets everything off. He's just like that punk, Theon Greyjoy. That guy,
the dad has to be like, "You're an idiot. That's John Wick. What did you do?"
He's like, "You are going to die." We call this man the boogeyman.
Oh, that was my favorite part. He's just like, "You idiot."
that scene, that was the first scene I had ever seen of John Wick. And it was a scene that made me really want to watch everything John Wick. Because when he has that scene where he's just like, what have you done?
I think there's another scene, though, that I think does it just as well. And that's when he's talking to the chop shop guy, John Leguizamo, and he says, "You want to explain to me why you slapped my son?" And he says, "Yes, sir, I will." He shot John Wick's dog.
And stole his car.
Oh.
All right.
I actually hope we get to talk about the ballerina trade because I thought it was excellent.
It was Alberto Falcone, by the way. Thank you, Mix, for life.
Like the pasta.
I know. I'm the worst Italian possible.
Evan, is that trailer out?
Yeah, it's out. I posted it on my Twitters.
Oh, I will check that out ASAP after the show. Oh, I'm excited.
I can't remember her name, the actress who plays Sophia. But I thought she was
loved her.
Spectacular. She's scary. She's unassuming and scary all at the same time.
I was legitimately unsettled by her. Like, they introduced her as, I guess she's kind of the villain of this arc. And when she came in, and all you had to do to explain was like, "Oh yeah, they let me out of Arkham," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I know everything I need to know about you." And then the people that are looking at her in the restaurant, and she's like, "Oh, psycho killer goes free," and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, so you're like a full-on serial killer." And then in the scene later where she has the penguin tied up and she's like torturing him, I was really unsettled by everything. I love the way he just masterfully plays the whole thing. And I really liked his connection with what was it, the Vic. The kid who he doesn't,
I think because Vic had a bit of a stutter, he had a soft spot for him.
That's where I remember her from. Okay, she played the mother in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Mex.
She is a very good actress. That dead stare she's making like 24/7 throughout this stuff.
When she stares at him, and you know what? Colin Farrell did so much to put her over in the first scene where she's in, when he's talking to the two men, and she comes up behind and she says something, and you see that like little look he gives back at her where he's like very nervous that she's in the room.
Why are you here?
That's crazy broad. Like it was definitely a moment. I think the show is just so well done.
Did you pull up any of the numbers, by the way, for this show? Because to compare and contrast to
I haven't seen any.
Oh, dude, this show it had just in the States alone, it had over 5 million people watching it in 4
Really?
days compared to
Wow.
the Acolytes 11 million globally in 5 days. So
yeah, Penguin opens to 5.3 million viewers across platforms. Okay, hold on. In first 4 days, it says.
yeah. So
So
in 1 day,
that's with one, and that is with one episode.
Yeah, that one episode didn't horseshoe in 2, and then again just in the States. So they almost well, you know, they almost doubled just in the States what the Acolyte had to do in 5 days. So I'm fascinated to see what the international numbers look like, to see what this this really turns out. But this is and we have a female showrunner who wrote the first episode, so we can compare and contrast. Agatha, and go, well, guys, this isn't us being no ma'am, Al Bundy, no ma'am. This is us going, hey, like quality wins in the end. If you do a great job, we will celebrate success.
Yeah.
Kevin,
have you
that
seen
can't be
those?
right. That can't be right though, because there couldn't have been a female showrunner because it wasn't jammed down our throats.
I know. I could you imagine, right? We had a show where there was a strong woman and no one had to throw themselves a ticker tape parade.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Lauren, what were you
I
about to say?
I was looking at my local street, just waiting for the parade to go by.
Lauren, what were you about to say?
I was just going to say, have you seen those people on Twitter, though, that are trying to claim that because Penguin had those numbers on that one day, that Acolyte clearly was a certified hit then? Have you seen that?
No. How do you make that comparison?
They're counting the time from the 5 days that it accrued, saying that it was however many minutes it was, 11 million or whatever it was, because that's a higher number than Penguin got on one day, that it meant that clearly this is really good.
And wasn't one America only? Wasn't the Penguin only here? And
yeah.
Acolyte was global. So it's
it was in no way an apples to apples comparison.
Yeah.
Well, in the WB,
I can assure you. Go ahead, Kevin.
The WB is a lot more transparent with where they get their viewer data from. I don't remember the formula, but I think it's the length of the episode divided by the amount of time it takes you to watch the episode is how they figured out who the viewers were. So,
and I can bet you right now this thing was probably astronomically cheaper to make than the Acolyte, and it looks a million times better. Even if the city sometimes is just obviously CGI, I long for the days when you booked a set in New York or California or something, and you actually filmed, on a street. But they did pretty good with what they had. Most of the time, it looked pretty real.
Gotham, the show, did that. They filmed in New York City. Just random, because that's the last.
I think they filmed in. Yeah, I think they filmed in New York, and I think they also filmed in. No, the Batman filmed in Newark. In Newark,
I remember when they were filming Batman v Superman, they were around the time there was rumors because they were filming in Detroit, and they were talking about how they're going to use that as Gotham City because it was so run down and everything. And I'm like, I want to see Batman versus the wild packs of dogs that go running around.
I can confirm that actually, because my father was flown out to Detroit to investigate some of the filming locations to help them do a risk assessment for the insurance policies. And he was like, bro, you wouldn't believe it. It's like The Walking Dead here. There's no one in any city. All the houses are abandoned, and there's packs of roaming dogs everywhere. But you can get property for less than $1.
But you know what?
I wonder why.
None of them gave you data. None of the roaming bands of dogs gave you data. Single problem, because he's the alpha in every situation. I love your father so much.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trish.
I have a question. Do you need to have seen the Batman the movie?
No.
No.
Okay, I got to be honest. I saw the movie was 3 hours, and I'm like, I'm out. I am not sitting and watching a Batman movie for 3 hours. I'm done.
No, you just have to know that they tell you everything you have to know in the first 2 minutes of the show. Like they do a couple of newspapers that show you that, like, the Riddler blew up the seawall and flooded a lot of the city. And
I hate rich people, so I'm going to destroy the homes of poor people.
Yeah, exactly.
But
the rich suburbs are perfectly fine.
So what Marvin and Kevin are saying, though, you definitely don't need to see the Batman before this, because I still haven't seen the Batman. I am definitely more curious to see it after seeing this, because after watching this, I really want more Batman because I'm not as high on this as Kevin and Marvin is, but I don't want to rain on the parade as much. But I do think it was pretty solid show, all things together.
What didn't you like?
Well, it's not really the show's fault. It's just a matter of I don't think this show was really made for me. But I just am slowly coming to the realization this year that I have been saying that for the past 15 years with everything Batman related outside of like the Arkham games. I'm like, I was this way with the Christopher Nolan films. I was this way with the Batman. I was this way with Gotham. We just had it so good, man. We had the Burton films. We had the animated series, Batman Beyond. We were in a golden age. And
I know exactly what you mean.
Schumacher, man.
I will say this first. As much as I rag on the Batman, one, Pattinson's performance did surprise me. I liked him in the role. I'm just not a fan of his Bruce. Gotham City is spectacular. I think this is the best interpretation of Gotham outside of what Tim Burton did for Gotham City. Gotham is an actual character in the movie. I thought the car was super cool. And Colin Farrell steals every scene that he's in, even though I'm not too crazy about what they did with his Penguin. But like when he shows up, he owns it. I actually think this is one of Colin Farrell's best performances, just as an actor in general, because he did hit that little spot where, like, he hit that Al Pacino spot where he just started playing Colin Farrell and things, you know. So that said, I get it. We have seen this Batman a bunch of times, and people want Bat Family. Like they want a mature, competent Batman who knows what he's doing to beat up a bunch of ninjas and a bunch of supervillains and be dispassionate but love his family.
And be the smartest guy in the room. You know, like that's what he needs to be, and that's what I'm hoping he's going to be. Since we're starting with Brave and the Bold, we're basically starting with Batman and Son. We should have an established Bat family already in this universe. So
yes,
that's what I'm crossing my fingers.
And if it's not Jensen Ackles, I riot.
I want the world for him, honestly.
Of course you do. I know.
But he really is. Like, you haven't watched Supernatural, but I'm just saying he's.
I know enough of him. I've seen his work.
You know that he's good, but I feel like I don't know why he can't
just
get that one big role. You know what I mean?
Let's hope it's this. Let's because he's been campaigning for it pretty hard, and you know, JJ likes to listen to people. So
you know, we almost got his appearance as Batman wasted because he was almost in that. They almost made him Batman for that awful Gotham Knights show.
Oh no,
the one Misha Collins was in.
Yeah, the one where Misha Collins played Harvey Dent.
And I was like, why would you put the two of them in a show together again?
Yeah, well, they had super serious talks about doing it, and then someone was like, "Bro, this show stinks. We're not doing this.
We're not sullying Batman by putting him in this." I mean, I loved Batman's appearances in Titans, though I don't think you ever see him as Batman.
Sir Jorah was awesome as Bruce Wayne.
Sir Jorah Mormont as Bruce Wayne.
He was like a gritty version of the Adam West Batman.
Yes. Oh my God, that's such a good way to put it.
He's like just curb stomping everybody, but like, hello, old chum. Pop, pop, pop. All right, I'm gone. Yeah. I'm gone. Mm-hmm. You're all incompetent. Call me if you need me. Don't call me.
When Dick finds out that he has a tracer under his skin. Oh, it was the best.
Kevin, can we please actually get a Justice League movie where he says that as his last line in the movie? I would pay top dollar for
Don't call me. Not to derail it, but one of my favorite Justice League animated moments was during the Cadmus season when they all go to turn themselves in, and like Superman, one of them like, yes, this is the right thing to do. Bruce, we're turning ourselves into the authorities. He's like, the hell I am. Well, we decided as a team. Yeah, well, I'm a part-timer. Click.
He's amazing. That's the Batman that I need and want in everything now.
1,000,000% agreed. I don't think there is a better show with better Batman moments than Justice League. I think they nailed it 100 million %.
Is anyone else here a fan of The Sopranos like I am? No, Trish, I thought you would have watched it.
I don't really generally like Mafia stuff outside of The Godfather. One.
See,
more than two. Hot take.
I mean, I love Mafia.
What about The Godfather 3?
I didn't even bother with The Godfather 3. I was like,
you know what? I've never seen The Godfather 3 either, just because I was told by everyone don't bother.
Yeah, I just read what it was about.
That's what I did with Terminator 3. I was like, you know what? Terminator 2 was a good ending. I'm done.
I heard that the recut though makes a lot more sense, because they allowed him to go in and re-edit the movie and put out a lot of things that were taken out of it. I don't know what it's called.
Did they edit his daughter out of it?
I don't know. Well, they put a lot of the story beats that were chopped out of the movie to have it make a little more sense. It even has it has a subtitles like The Godfather 3. It's on Peacock, or at least it was. I never got a chance to watch it because I remember when The Godfather 3 came out, I was like, "Ooh, this is going to be cool," and I was like, "Oh, this wasn't cool at all."
You think it would have been the easiest one for them to do, seeing as how it was based off a true story, like actually not just like the loosely based, like every horror movie these days.
But it had a great movie poster that I hung up in my room. Fantastic.
I've seen a version of The Godfather 1 and 2 cut together where they take all of the Vito and Sicily flashbacks from 2 and they put it in the beginning all together. So you get Vito and Sicily, and then you get The Godfather 1, and then you get The Godfather 2 minus those Vito flashbacks.
I gotta be honest, with The Godfather 2, the flip-flop, I couldn't take it. Like, I would be in one storyline, and then they'd go, time to go to this other one, and then I'd be like, and then I'd get into that one, and then and I was just like, can I just watch one story? Like,
Trish,
which
was it like Family Guy, where they're like, remember the time when...
You remember the time when Vito stabbed that guy in Sicily?
And I'm also like, I have a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that neither Al Pacino nor Robert Duvall won an Oscar for any of those movies, but like they gave one to Marlon Brando, and I don't really get it because
Brando.
I know he's Marlon Brando. He wasn't the best person in that movie. He just wasn't.
In the first one?
Yeah,
he's the thing. He's always been my takeaway from the first one. I love Brando in that movie. I think
Al Pacino and Robert Duvall are like perfect in that movie. Yeah. And then with Robert De Niro in the second movie, and I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, man, you screwed Al Pacino over again. Like, he was great in that one too. Just
he was.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's get to some super chat. I asked about The Sopranos because I feel like the Penguin feels a lot like The Sopranos. Lauren, you never watched The Sopranos?
Nope, I didn't.
Oh.
I wouldn't be against it. I just have never seen it.
Okay.
My father ruined it for me because he loved the first season. He was like, this is actually how it was. This is the things we had to deal with. This is how they operated. And then we get to see he's like, I don't know what they did, but now they're writing it like someone who they're writing it. They went from being how it is to what someone thinks it is. And I can't take this anymore.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, some super chats. First of all, Jermaine Chapman, welcome, became a YouTube member of the Tooney Talk TV channel. We are very excited to have you here. You're going to be able to enjoy some great exclusive content. Our members only live stream tomorrow at 2 p.m., which is a much more interactive live stream between me and the people. Kevin has joined me the last 2 weeks. If you're able to join me again this week, that would probably be awesome.
I'll be on time this week.
I was fine vamping, but yeah, no, that's awesome. And we just put out a new Kevin Apollo rant, which I have to laugh because Lisa put it best in a comment on the rant where she was basically like, this is less of a rant and more of a well thought out and well researched discussion, and it really is. It's Kevin talking about the forced basically the character creator in Dragon Age, where you have to add the mastectomy. We can add the mastectomy scars and the pronouns, and he goes into a very, very intelligent discussion on how gender theory started in this country, and which is stuff that I never knew, and it's very, very interesting. So I highly recommend all channel members check that out, and that is available on all channel member levels. Nolan Thunder gifted one Tooney Talk TV membership. Thank you very much, my friend, and congratulations to whoever got that one. The Rabbit Wolverine LC Killer 17 for $2 says football in Tooneytown and wine tonight is good. I'm glad. I wouldn't know much about football, but I do know about Tooneytown and wine. So
I do, and all I know is that the Cowboys have to lose, and I will be happy.
Nolan, you're a football guy? I never would have clocked that.
Everyone always says that. Yes, I'm actually really into NFL. Like
that is the biggest shock.
Legitimately watch documentaries on players and take inspiration from them. I've met some of the famous ones too.
Lauren Connor could literally take his nose off and be like, "My nose has been fake this whole time," and that would be the second most surprising thing that I've heard this entire stream.
It's not the nose.
Oh God.
John JD 999 for $1.99. The South Park Diddy movie will be amazing. I think the episode, yeah. I really hope they do an episode on that. That's amazing. Oh,
you heard what his lawyer said, right?
What did his lawyer
Why
say?
he has 1,000 bottles of baby oil is because there was a Costco near his house and he got it in bulk.
Well, you know, it's an unperishable product, right? Yeah.
Like, and then I laughed because someone on Twitter was like, "Do you have 1,000 babies? Why do you need?"
The only person on this planet that would have ever needed 1,000 bottles of baby oil is Triple H.
Given the nature of the parties involved, he might have 1,000 babies.
That is also true. Well done.
There are a lot of Diddy kids.
Diddy kids. Dead X-Man 616 for $1.99. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. I'm not sure if you sent a super sticker or something like that, but we appreciate the support. JPS for $2. Breast milk. You make my day.
I'm sorry. I can't hear anything about breast milk anymore. Not think of Homelander and how my skin crawled. My skin absolutely crawled.
I don't watch that show, so I'm not getting the reference. You can spoil it. It's okay.
Is this going to score us like the baby did last week?
I haven't watched the show either, but I'm now intensely interested in hearing you describe it.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the actress, Kevin? I know you watched it. Elizabeth Shue is like this surrogate mom figure, and he's got this really weird mommy attachment, but then also like they kind of like have a weird sexual thing kind of going on, and then she has a kid, right? And that's why she's got breast milk. And he's like, he gets jealous of the baby, and he like sneaks and takes sips of the breast milk that she put aside for the baby. And it was just like, I was like,
Going Shogi gifted one Tooney Talk TV membership.
Moving on.
Thank you, Going Shogi. We needed you.
Thank you very much, Thank you very much, Going Shogi.
Really appreciate you right now, Going Shogi.
And big congrats to whoever picked up that membership. Please make sure you thank Go and Shogi. Really appreciate it. Now, Tooneytown TV gifted 5 Tooneytown TV memberships, so we are turning that chat green tonight. Yes, that is me gifting you guys memberships. So I really hope you enjoy them. And I hope, because, you know, when you get a gifted membership, it lasts for 1 month and then it cancels itself. So I hope you guys enjoy the content that we're putting out. You enjoy the, the perks, the early release on all of our videos, and you decide to, stick with us for the long haul because, we have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great things cooking. So
Tooneytown Green.
87 Mentality West for $1.99. Thoughts on Cavill pushing for Warhammer 40K series? I think it's great.
Man is a GD treasure.
Yeah. Well, and Space Marine is doing so well right now that you got to think that as long as he can control, as long as he doesn't lose Warhammer the way he lost The Witcher to the crazies.
There's some scuttlebutt going around because a lot of the stuff that's been forced, a lot of the changes that have been forced onto the game out of nowhere, because we are also seeing it happen here where we decided to make a bunch of female characters where it should be impossible for there to be female characters. And, he is a lore guy, but scuttlebutt is Amazon is forcing a lot of these changes.
Of course.
And the production kind of came to a halt, and there was a little concern that Cavill has picked up his has untied his ship and moved on.
I wouldn't blame him.
Good man.
Well, the rumor was that they changed the lore in 40K because Amazon wanted to insert the female custodies into the show. And so I have a question though. Have any of you guys seen Space King?
No.
I've seen Space Dave, if that's what you mean. But
After this show, go on YouTube and look up Space King and watch it. I implore you.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note of that. Space King. I'm gonna. You know what? I don't want. I don't think. I don't think I want any more. I don't think I want to know anything more about it than I already just heard, because I just want to be surprised now. Coming
soon to membership, Marvin's live reaction to Space King.
I promise you will not be disappointed.
James T gifted 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. Ooh. Thank you, man. That's awesome. Make sure you thank him if you are one of the lucky recipients of those memberships. We don't, when you gift a membership, also, guys, you don't pick who gets it. It's just random people get it. So, thank you very much, James, and thank you for helping us turn the chat green. And Ryan Matheson for $1.99. Packers fan here. Cowboys must always lose, Nolan.
My dude.
Yeah, my family would agree with you. They're all New York fans. They're all Giants
fans, right?
Yeah, they're all Giants. Oh my God, you have no idea. Look, New York sports in my house, in my parents' house, is. I mean, it is
hard.
Let me put it this way: there is not in the family room. There's a small picture of me on the wall. There's a giant picture of Lou Gehrig.
Because I can't help myself. I have employees who, I had a friend who was a giant Cowboys fan, and every year, it's our year, and I would just delight in watching the annual Cowboy season collapse. But now I have employees who are Cowboys fans, and anytime I hear them talking, but I go, you weren't even alive the last time the Cowboys were good. Stop it.
I was talking to someone today.
Hold on one second. Hold that thought. I didn't know this. Kendrick Lama says it's not random. If you like the stream, you get gifted membership priority. I did not know that. So that's a good thing to know. And go ahead, Nolan.
Thanks
I'm sorry.
for liking the stream too.
No, Kevin will appreciate this. At my job today, a coworker was telling me that someone had been working at Walgreens since the 90s, and I was like, I'm not even alive yet. The Cowboys were actually good back then.
All right, so I'm gonna admit something. When I was a kid, I always wanted to be the opposite of everything my family did. I don't know why. I was just always contrarian. I was very much like I always had to be the odd one out. So my parents loved the Giants, and because I was a kid and I had to like somebody, I said that I liked the Cowboys. And so I had a Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, no, I didn't actually like them, Kevin. I never watched a game. I just wore the stuff to piss my dad off. It was. I remember they got me one of those. Remember, like in the 90s, every boy had like those big pullover winter coats. Yeah, they didn't zip up. You had to pull them over your head. Yeah, pull it over your head. And I had a Cowboys one of that. I remember. And yeah. And when the Cowboys would play the Giants, they would literally, and this is probably part of the reasons why I'm in therapy. My parents would put a big Giants blanket on the couch, and my parents and siblings would sit on that couch, and they would put a Dallas blanket on like a lone chair on the other side of the room, and that was where I had to sit.
Did they at least get you like a comfy chair? Or was it like a hard kitchen table chair, very uncomfortable?
No, it was a regular living room chair. It wasn't that.
Okay, at least you weren't that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't like one of those medieval torture chairs or anything like that. No.
He's leaving out the part where they threw rotten fruit and vegetables at him, though.
Probably. I might have blocked that one out. There's a lot of my childhood that's just a blank.
Boo this man. Boo.
Oh,
I think
man.
Sometimes, Kevin, I think about how I was telling you, I was watching a game, and it was a Steelers game, and I was like, and I saw this dude, man, with amazing curly hair just go flying by and wreck somebody. And I said, that guy's definitely Samoan. And I see Polamalu. I go, this is my new favorite player. And Kevin goes to me, how did you pick the best safety in the league to be your favorite player? And you had no idea. And I was just like,
Trish.
I just know greatness when I see it. I don't know.
You just know Samoan.
Trish.
You just know not to mess with Samoans in contact sports.
He wrecked that guy. I was like... God.
The moment you said long curly hair rushing through, I was like, is she referring to Troy Polamalu?
And then he retired, and I was like, I don't care about Steelers anymore.
We almost sat and went to his bar that he has in Pittsburgh or whatever. We were gonna go sit down at it and get like food during their training camp. We're not Steelers fans, but we respect them. And it was like packed to the brim. Like you had to like an hour wait to get in there. And we were like, no.
He got on the Hall of Fame. He got on the Hall of Fame first ballot. I was like, see, I know. I got the nose. I know what's up.
You're like the crime dog.
Taking a bite out of crime. Oh my goodness. So that was one of the first. That was not one of the first times, but one of the many times I got the I cannot believe this is my firstborn male heir look from my father. But
Can I get that on a shirt?
Well, you gonna buy it for your dad?
No, thankfully not. But
all right, so moving along, guys, we have some casting rumors going on. So keep in mind these are just rumors. Now, this is something that I know Trish was very excited to talk about. She sent me the link earlier.
I'm
Cillian
not
Murphy.
against it.
Cillian Murphy back to play iconic figure in upcoming Harry Potter series. My first question when she sent me this was, is Cillian Murphy British? And she told me he's Irish, which I never knew. I thought he was an American because I don't think I've ever seen him use his actual voice. The Harry Potter saga, arguably the most colossal franchise in history, which absolutely dominated pop culture from the 2000s into the early 2010s, is being reimagined for a new generation, sparking buzz that Cillian Murphy might join the cast. With HBO at the helm of the upcoming Potter reboot, they have issued a casting call seeking 3 undiscovered youngsters to take the roles of Harry, Ron, and Hermione. While fans eagerly anticipate who will snag the iconic trio roles, speculation has served over who will body other major characters. One fan circuit on the fan circuit, Cillian Murphy's name repeatedly emerges, with a consensus among Potter faithful that he would incredibly suit the role of Lord Voldemort.
I could get behind it.
I think I could too. I mean, like the Scarecrow playing Voldemort, I think I'd be okay with that.
I think he could bring the right. I don't have a word for it, but the right
gravitas.
Something to it. Yeah, that to it.
Yeah. I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate that at all. I think, look, Ray Fiennes was one of those characters that was pretty much like perfectly cast.
Didn't he say he'd do it again? I could have sworn I heard him be like, I'd do it again. And I'm like,
yeah, and
really?
Voldemort, I guess Voldemort is supposed to be older because he was at Hogwarts at the same time as Hagrid. But I don't know.
I think he's supposed to be like 70, like towards the end. Like if he would have just, done everything normally. I think he was supposed to be around 70.
You know what? The way they made him look was definitely not the way I always imagined him, which means that was back like when I read the Harry Potter books originally, I was such a rebellious young elder teen that I was
I like Voldemort.
Yeah, no, I was like, I'm not going to let you tell me what these characters look like. I'm going to create my own characters in my head. And so I never imagined Voldemort to look like a bald man with no nose.
Well, he is described differently. He sounds more like a skull almost. His face, you know what I mean? Ray Fiennes almost looks way more human, oddly enough, even though he's supposed to look not human anymore. But...
Marvin, how did you picture him looking?
I remember kind of like Snape almost. Like I pictured long hair. Like, I don't know why. I pictured like black hair wizard. And I just kind of pictured it more like that kind of character. But I could totally see Cillian Murphy playing it. I think he'd do a great job. Do you think he's a little young for the role, Trish?
How old is he? I think he's a little older. I think he's in his mid 40s. I don't know. I don't think he is. I wouldn't say he is, especially because it's obviously. I'm gonna look it up. He's obviously a character that's gonna have. Yeah. See, there you go. By the time he would really need to be in it, he'd be almost 50.
He'd be in his 50s, and then by the time the show ended, he'd probably be in his 60s. So,
if you figure they start filming it when do they plan to start filming it?
I don't know. If they're casting now, I would assume they're going to be filming in 2025.
I would think that when they started, he'd be about 50. So by the end of it, I don't even know.
Well, and how much of him are you actually going to see in the first one?
Well, he's not even in the third book.
Head. Yeah, he's not even in the third one.
So you can just skip that for him.
That's good. That's gonna be really interesting. You're gonna have a whole season of the show with no Voldemort in it. Well, actually, we see him in 1, and we don't see him again in present day form until book 4.
Yeah, because 2 is mostly young Tom Riddle. So, which would they have Cillian Murphy play young Tom Riddle? Just like kind of use that de-aging tech like they used on what's his face in Ant-Man, Michael Douglas.
Yeah,
whatever Ant-Man movie was like the de-aging, and I was like, what am I looking at right now?
Again,
I don't know if they would just do that or.
Yeah, but this is fan casting. Obviously, it's not legitimately like
it's good though.
Yeah, it's good fan casting. Now, there was another bit of fan casting that came up where the person that was involved in the fan casting was asked about it, and he was like, "No, absolutely not. Why the hell would you even do this?"
So, I wish Martin were here.
I know. Original Dumbledore actor's son questions HBO's Harry Potter reboot. Why do it? The films are fantastic. Leave them alone. Jared Harris, the son of the original Dumbledore actor Richard Harris, has taken his name out of the running to play the legendary Harry Potter wizard in HBO and Max's upcoming television series based on J.K. Rowling's book series. The Mad Men and Chernobyl actor was asked about playing Dumbledore during an interview on the Independent series Go to Bat, which he responded, "No, thank you." Also, I mean, why do it? I don't understand. The films were fantastic. Leave them alone. So he's not interested in taking on his father's beloved role, although he admitted to the publication that a lot of storytelling was left out of the original Harry Potter film franchise and will now be able to be filmed due to the expanded runtime of the HBO series. Yeah, so that would have been great casting, but
Martin jinxed it, man.
Yeah, he did. Martin brought that up. I thought I remembered somebody bringing it up, and it was Martin then.
Yeah, it was him. And then I didn't know about Jared Harris. When he told me, I was like, yes, I'm behind this. And then it was like a week later, no.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Let that dream go.
Not only absolutely not, but he said you should not be even making this show.
Which I flip-flop on that.
You know? It is a little
it's gonna
weird.
Suck.
Well, it is a little weird that we're rebooting so soon. But
you have to, because they're not going to just not make Harry Potter stuff, and people have they tried to go in a different direction, and they learned that the wizarding world is not what people want. They want Harry Potter.
But
listen,
I did laugh because a Fantastic Beast bombed, and then Zazoff was like, "Yeah, we're going to do a TV show." She said we can do a TV show. We're doing a TV show.
Yeah,
it was like that Monday.
Yeah, go ahead, Trish.
She said once, I'm not going to do prequels to the Harry Potter story because everyone's like, I want my Marauders. Give me my Marauders. And she was like, no, I'm not interested in doing prequels. And then she started throwing Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts movie. And I'm like, this is a prequel. Absolutely no one asked for this prequel. So it's like, you said you would. Oh, it drives me crazy.
And she really took nothing open. J.K. Rowling left like nothing open for like sequels and stuff like that. By like the last movie, it's like, hey, here's them like 20, 30 years in the future.
Yeah,
like
it would have to be
done.
I mean, well, the Cursed Child, but I don't like to talk about that. So
we don't talk about the Cursed Child.
We don't talk about the Cursed Child, no. Unless it's Scorpius Malfoy. He can stay. I like him.
He can stay because his name is cool.
And he's actually a good character.
But just because I love European history, Cillian Murphy is an Irishman who grinds that we hate the English acts really hard.
Oh, does he?
You can see him there was a press junket and Prince Harry was there, and oh my lord.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Prince Harry lately.
Yeah, well, listen, good Merkel. My wife is watching Suits, and every time I enter a room, I go, "Ugh, Merkel." Yeah.
My friends from the UK who are visiting right now, I saw them recently, and they said the same thing about her.
Yeah, they don't like her there.
No.
And they shouldn't, because I don't like
all
her
right.
there,
So while we still have Lorne, I do want to get into something I wanted to talk with him about. So our next super chat actually brings up this subject. Brennan White for £199 sterling. Acolyte actually cost $230 million, not $180 million. Head exploding. Yeah, so this is a thing. The Acolyte. My goodness. And this was some explosive reporting from that park place. I was very proud and honored to be a part of this team when I read this article, and this was done by our friend Jonas J. Campbell, who has appeared on this show before, but he's also the host of the That Park Place YouTube channel. I will read you a little bit of it, and then we'll discuss. United Kingdom tax documents filed by the Walt Disney Company's UK branch revealed that Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company spent over 172 million Great British pounds, 231 million US dollars on production of The Acolyte. In an interview with Vanity Fair, the Acolyte series creator and Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, Leslie Headland, publicly claimed that the show cost $180 million, which was assumed to buy several to be stated in US dollars. It is evident that if Headland had knowledge of the series' financials, she was more likely referring to the amount in Great British pounds. According for exchange rates at the time of the article, that means the Acolyte cost almost 230 million US dollars. It's actually, the almost is, I believe, a typo. It's actually over 230 million. Yeah. So with 8 episodes in the series, that means that the show cost $28.75 million per episode, guys. Lauren Connor, where did the money go?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, but I think what's more interesting is that this number here doesn't account for the marketing and promotional costs either. Mm-hmm. And you've got to figure that those are at least in the $80 to $90 million range. So that's going to push the cost for this movie up to the lower end of what the estimate of the production cost for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is. And we know what a colossal flop that was. So this is why I think Disney and Lucasfilm were seriously spooked by the reaction to The Acolyte. And I believe that is what is going to now drive change. You've noticed that over the last week to a week and a half, they've announced that several projects have been put on hold, halted, or canceled entirely. And I believe all of that is because this was too public a failure that they could not deny. What they've done in the past is they've tried to equivocate and say, oh, it wasn't that bad. It's not as bad as you think. There was no way they could pretty this up. And they're in such a situation right now where everything is failing everywhere. And it's obvious why. They can't hide it anymore. So they are going to be forced to pivot. The question is, can they? They are so riddled internally with people who are supporting the agenda of Disney and Lucasfilm right now that you've got to extricate all of those people and replace them with people who have talent, who want to do right by the property. And it's going to be a thankless job. You've got to somehow do such a heavy lift that why would you want to take on that headache? So I think the only real viable option is you've got to mothball the property. And unfortunately, you probably can't revive it because you lost the opportunity for generational capture. From now on, Star Wars is likely to just be a niche property. And someday, 15 to 20 years ago, you'll start seeing TV specials of, remember when? What happened to this giant franchise that was a juggernaut for 40 to 50 years?
But Lauren, do you actually think they would have the ability to actually do that, to sideline Star Wars? I think they're just kind of in this whole thing where they're like, man, we have to make this work. So we have to keep churning out movies. We have to keep churning out TV shows. And now Marvel right now is reportedly, according to Chris Gore, cleaning house on the on the activist producers. We saw it with Victoria Alonso being let go, and then all of her little subordinates. But apparently with Lucasfilm, it's just too much to it's so ingrained into the community there at Lucasfilm that it's impossible to get it out. And the other problem is it's right up at the top with Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, it's more than that too, because it's like, I would say on the Marvel side of the fence, sure, they've let out that they've fired a lot of producers and stuff, but who's still at the top there?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think that Kevin didn't buy into this? He can have that quote where he says, we tried it, it didn't work, but he was the one trying it. He was the one that was pushing it. As soon as he got Ike Perlmutter out of the way, Marvel started nosediving, and that was on him. So
you're speaking Kevin Apollo's language right now.
I scream this from any mountaintop I can. That man is responsible for all of this idiocy. They got Ike gone, and it opened up the floodgates for woke lunacy, and now we've got bad Marvel movies.
Yep. And the problem is that, again, you have to extricate all of these people and replace them with people who are actually talented and care about the property and know what the fans want and get them to put a production together. And we're not talking about, if you did that, let's say for the sake of argument, let's play a little mental game. Let's suppose that you're put in charge of the studio and you decide, fine, we're going to get rid of all the rot and we're going to replace them with people who have those talents and the ability to do that. First, you got to find them. They have to be willing. You have to pay them, and they have to come together cohesively as a team. That's not an easy task for any business at any size.
Yep.
Now, the first thing you got to do is you got to get a successful, not just a successful, a blockbuster movie out there to try and reignite interest and passion. And even then, the fan base isn't going to trust you after just one. And we're not even talking about just TV shows, games, comic books, audio dramas, all that stuff. If you really wanted to make this work, much as I hate to say this, you need to spin it out to other studios. That's why a lot of the times the games and the comic books and things like that worked. It was other people who were passionate about it building the lore. They were the people licensing it. Those are the people you need to go to figure out how to fix this. You're not going to do it internally.
Look at
You're
Matthew.
absolutely right, Lauren. You've hit it
Matthew
the nail
James said
right
in the
on
chat.
the head. And one thing you're missing there, a strong leader, and they don't have that. Like, it goes to get all that budget to be able to do it, to go out and find those creatives. They're going to need someone who has as much faith and passion for that property. And I just don't think Bob Iger can even do that if he tried.
I see a comment.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go on.
I see a comment in the chat right now from Matthew James who says you need a council of people in charge of lore. And I'm going to push back hard on that. That's what you have now. And that's when you get design by committee. Unfortunately, what you need is actually one person who is a strong creative visionary who will honor what Lucas did. And a lot of people thought that's what Dave Filoni was, but he's not the guy. I think there are people that could fulfill that role, but Disney would never put them in charge. You need somebody.
Part of that, Lauren. Yeah, part of that role would be to stand up to people who want to do things against what George would have done and against the lore. And Dave Filoni has shown he is not the guy to do that, nor would they put a guy. Look at what they did with the Muppets. You know, Frank Oz, the reason he says he's not with the Muppets anymore is because he would speak up and he would tell them, no, I don't want to do this. This isn't the Muppets. You're not doing it right. And they don't want to hear it. Steve Whitmire, the voice of Kermit, he was shown the door as well, specifically for that. Go ahead, Lauren. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same thing at Lucasfilm. You notice that they pushed out Ben Burt, for God's sake.
Yeah.
They slowly sidelined him. And a whole bunch of the old creative folks at ILM, a lot of them had retired and were kind of ancillary at that point, sometimes coming in and contributing and not full-time employees. But that's your legacy. Now, Disney did pull some of them in who were willing to play ball to offer some effects in there. I think Phil Tippett did some model work for The Force Awakens and things like that. But
it's always the first movie.
Yeah, it's this is exactly why you won't get a creative force that can fix this. Is the Dave Filoni problem is the problem. Dave knows who signs his paychecks, and Disney will not put somebody in charge of the studio who will say, no, I'm the guy who's the leader of this franchise. What I say goes. They won't do that. And again, and I'm going to gently push back on myself here a little bit and say, you have to be very careful about having that person in charge too, because there's a tendency to get an ego. You have to be in touch with what made Star Wars tick. There was the original blooming of the franchise in 77 all the way through 93 and some fond memories up through about 86. And then it went dormant. And it reemerged about 5 years later with only West End Games still keeping the material in the public consciousness during that entire time. They contributed a ton of foundational lore for what would later become the EU. But around 91, it all exploded again, much to the surprise of George Lucas. And I would say from 91 till about 2005, despite some of the blowback to the prequels, which eventually they had a creative reinterpretation over the years. Those were the golden years, and especially from 92 up until, say, about 2002, I would say they had a peak that has never been matched since and probably never will be again.
And that aligns with what you said, Lauren, because you were talking about you're so good you have to play devil's advocate to yourself. I think that's cool, by the way. But on side note, you're saying you need to keep your ego in check. And I think that actually goes back to Lucas a bit too, where you kind of need a little bit of someone you can fall back on to kind of see like, all right, what is clicking in the zeitgeist, but also what can we do to where we're not just giving people the same crap regurgitated constantly, like what Disney does quite frequently when they're not just going woken away, you know?
One of the fascinating things about Lucas is that he has an amazing creative vision. But sometimes he got a little ahead of his skis. And in the early days, there were a lot of people that actually could keep him in check. He had Gary Kurtz, he had his wife, Marcia. There were all kinds of people that were contributing to this. But he was wise enough to realize that you can't constantly repeat yourself. You have to keep things fresh. But if you remember that documentary that accompanied The Phantom Menace, the beginning, you remember that? There's that scene where they were there's that scene where they were doing the screening late into production, and everybody comes out of the screening theater looking a little bit stunned. And Lucas himself says, I may have pushed this a little bit too far. And he did. Episode 1, it has great scenes in it, but it's kind of a narrative and especially pacing disaster. Lucas hadn't directed or written for quite a while, and he was a bit rusty. He picked it up as he went along. He got additional help, but you've got to be able to recognize that when it happens. And in that screening, he did.
Yeah, and he learned from his mistakes too, because he went from because gradually you had, I know Red Letter brought this up years ago, but the first movie you have one big climax, blow up the Death Star. Second movie, 2 stories going on. Return of the Jedi, big climax, so 3 stories at once. Phantom Menace, the beginning of everything. 4 different things happening at once. And by that point, he's like, my God, I've created a monster. And because of how he edited it, it was hard to fix. Attack of the Clones, he learned right away. Like, let's have one thing going on at the end, and I think it was for the better.
Well, not only that, but, and I imagine this probably hurt him, because Jar Jar was really important to him. And I think his intention for Jar Jar, and this is just my own personal belief, is the archetype that he wanted Jar Jar to fulfill was the fool, which is the one who appears to be mentally deficient and yet supernaturally lucky. And you have these kind of characters appear in all kinds of hero's journey stories. But the audience completely rejected him. And I know that hurt him because, one, it was the first time you'd had a fully CGI character that was over a character model. And his son named it. It was a character that he believed in because he wanted to have that juxtaposition of this guy who was thrust into the narrative, who didn't belong there, but still was worthy of joining the heroes. But he recognized that there was this awful backlash. And so the way he dealt with it was, he made Jar Jar responsible for giving the vote to Palpatine that authorized the creation of the Clone Army and made him responsible for the Clone Wars.
All Jar Jar's fault.
I'm sure that hurt, but it actually worked. And
then what I love with George was also when the Clone Wars TV show came, Filoni very famously does not like Jar Jar Binks. And yet George would the phone would ring and it'd be George on the other end and he'd be demanding Jar Jar episodes. So he was literally like, you're going to get him. Like, I'm going to get my fix here, guys. Like a little something. We'll give you your Night Sisters of Dathomir and we'll give you your, the wills and all that stuff. But there's going to be a little something for you and a little something for me.
Now, going to Disney Star Wars, I will say, I like the fact that Ahmed Best got to come back and do Kelleran Beck, who I don't think is a bad character, and I'd be interested in seeing more of that guy. And I'm glad that the fan base is now embracing him. I think that's a good thing. But the thing is that there are times when your ideas don't work. I think that Lucas has had several times where he's done things that just haven't quite gelled. But as a visionary, he's ahead of a lot of people. And that's something that you need if you want to fix Star Wars. That's why I would say, don't give it to a council. You have to have somebody who is a strong creative visionary who understands the property.
Do you think, well, first, I don't think you see any substantive change until we're finally free of Bob Iger.
Well, I suspect that day is coming faster than what Iger anticipates.
I feel like it's coming like a freight train.
Yeah, but if you get Dana Walden, it's just more Bob Iger. So,
but the problem is, I think, we don't talk about it on this channel, but she'll have her own problems eventually, because that sleeping giant won't stay asleep for too long. But
come on, Nelson Peltz, hostile takeover, let's go.
And then I almost feel like if they don't want to have to put Star Wars to bed, and I agree, I think the damage is done. You got to just kind of put it away and hope that like it gets a little weird nostalgia pop like Masters of the Universe, which I always compare this to. It's like Masters of the Universe was the hottest line out there, and then someone said, hey, let's turn this into a girl's toy line, and then you watch it all implode from the inside out, and everyone's like, how did we take something that was making more money than anything that we've ever seen before to just done and dusted in less than a year?
Several years ago on that Park Place, one of the articles that I wrote was about exactly that, and comparing Star Wars to the failures of the Transformers and the He-Man franchises and the creative decisions behind the scenes that led to that. And I think you're exactly right. That is exactly what they have done. And how they can't understand that, seeing that they have decades-old test cases that show you what happens when you try and... Everybody always thinks we can make more money. What we have to do is broaden our audience. It's like, guys, you are making a ton of money. You are the envy of every other franchise on the planet. You don't have to get more fans. Sometimes people just like things, and they like them for reasons. You cannot be everything to everybody. Stick with the core audience. They like it for a reason.
For some reason, sometime around 5-6 years ago, maybe, every studio, because there's always going to be that grimacing monster of a human being who hates everything and is just completely like unhappy in life, and they sat there with their arms folded across their chests, and they all said, well, why is there no black people in this? Why are there no women in this? And for some reason, all the movie studios thought those people were the majority of people. And just everything started to be catered toward them.
Well, I mean,
turns out they're just really loud and annoying.
If you want to go off on a slightly different topic, that is one of the scary things that I think that this demonstrates, is that humans really do have a herd mentality. And when you have big corporations that have decided that this is the strategy for the future, they've been told by these analysts that this is how you broaden your audience, and this is how finance is going to work in the future. And everybody jumps on board. Everybody bought into this all at the same time.
Yeah.
And they've been able to see for over a decade now what has been wrought by that. And they still continue to double down because nobody has explicitly repudiated it yet. They're waiting for the first one to do it, and when they do it, everybody else will. That's why I think something like Space Marine 2 right now is so important. That's what I think what's happening in the gaming space is so important, because that's a place where the consumer absolutely draws hard lines. You can go against almost anything, but you mess with our gaming and we will freaking punish you. And
go, Lord!
You would think you would have thought that panic would have set in when the Saints Row reboot was such a disaster that the studio shut down, and we don't even actually know who owns Saints Row right now. Like, it was like that was the actual canary in the coal mine. I get it, it takes these things are cyclical, they have to worm their way in, they have to put something in development. But if you would have figured that the gaming industry being so susceptible to the whims of fandom and getting fandom's cash, that more and more people would have would have pulled the emergency brake. But I do one quick thing. I do say, well, so DE&I isn't something that's new. This actually started for corporations in the very late 90s, and it was a very slow burn. And it's really around 2012 where you start seeing all this stuff start to come to fruition. You see it in the corporate vernacular. We stop hiring people based off of skills, knowledge, and ability. We're chasing out. You start seeing the chasing out of old dogs. Like, listen, look, if you were an IT person, you turned 35 and they treated you like you were Methuselah. And now they realize that you have these kids who have no problem solving skills, can't actually have a stern conversation, and learned zero in college, but have expectations of making $400,000 a moment because they showed up 20 minutes late because of their time blindness. And you're seeing a massive panic now because we chased away the people who actually know what's going on, know how to fix the problems, know how to forward think, know how to make it work with other people, even people they don't disagree with, and won't burn the company down if they get chastised for something. And it's, you know, it's unfortunate that we have to kind of watch this all happen as companies maybe possibly have shown signs that they're going to slow walk back a profit and customer satisfaction mentality. But it's, you know, it just sucks that we have to sit here and watch the dumpster fire burn out of control while everybody tries to figure it out.
I'm encouraged by the fact, I think Culture said last night on the stream that he's counted 14 game development studios that have closed this year alone.
Yep.
That gives me some hope, because what we are seeing is the AAA space is dying, but the AA space is putting out some bangers. And so I like seeing that. I'm seeing some independent creators come in and start doing some amazing stuff, and oftentimes at a lesser price point for more entertainment. So I think that's the model you need to follow. If we're going to defeat this, if we're going to get back to meritocracy and pleasing the customer, the gaming space is going to be the one that is the vanguard of that movement. And I want to see us, let's keep killing them. If they keep saying that we're going to dictate to you what you will like, close your wallet, support somebody else.
Well, and we're seeing that happening in the gaming sphere, the way you said, Lauren. I mean, you look at this article here, you know, Ubisoft's sale collapse and delaying of Assassin's Creed Shadows is a total meltdown as the stock price collapses. Ubisoft, you know, just pushed Assassin's Creed back from November to February, because this is going to be the thing that kills Ubisoft. They just had a major issue with Star Wars Outlaws. Nobody bought that game. Nobody wanted that game. It was clearly developed to be a Han Solo game, and then somebody went, oh, but what if it was an ugly woman instead of Han Solo? And they went with that, and it was a game that was busted, did not work at all. Yeah, well, yeah, Rocky Dennis mask. And now you're seeing Ubisoft, a game studio that was so big it is publicly traded, and it is probably going down the tubes because of its. And now here's what Ubisoft. They got caught. You know, one of their CEOs, one of their high ups was caught saying like, "Oh, we can't do games with you know, female protagonists because they won't sell. Nobody will buy them. Nobody wants that." They were saying a lot of things that the wokes all found very offensive. And now Ubisoft, and what you're seeing now is an overcorrection, and Ubisoft is now going to pay for that overcorrection. It's terrible, and BioWare is going to go down the drain next. And you know, Rockstar. I think they came into TV and into movies, and all of a sudden they were starting to get pushed out because people started waking up. Channels like The Drinker and Nerdrotic started popping up, and Midnight's Edge. People started pushing them out. Then they were all of a sudden like, gaming is where we're going to sink our claws next. We saw it with the rise of Sweet Baby Inc. We saw it with all of these activist developers, and we started seeing the change in gaming. And the gaming industry is where it goes to die because, like you said, Lauren, people are not gonna put up with it. What was that, Kev?
They ran the comic books because they thought that if they managed to create a character and got them into a movie, that they'd be set for life. And comics, just like gaming, is driven by the consumer. The unfortunate part of this is, instead of Marvel and DC and even IDW learning the lesson, it was the comic book retailer who has suffered. The comic book store is all but extinct right now, and retailers are now essentially turning themselves into the Agrabah bazaar with every little piece of junk that might be pop culture jammed into the store just to try to keep the lights on. While you've got DC and Marvel celebrating mediocrity in their sales, and jacking the price up, $6 to $8 for rubbish. I don't want to see Johnny Storm getting busy with a jellyfish lady. It's silly. That's not what I'm here.
With a handlebar mustache.
Yeah, with a handlebar mustache, or listen. Everybody thought it was hysterical in the 90s when Rob Liefeld gave Captain America the biggest chest on earth ever animated. If you get bored, Google Rob Liefeld Captain America Heroes Reborn. It's great. He even makes fun of it. And then someone goes, I can do it better. And now we have super swole Batman running around in this nonsensical whatever the storyline is. I wish Spencer was here because he would remind me what it is. And they're scratching their heads going, why did no one like this book? And it's like, well, what? How many times do we have to tell you, old man? And they ran the games, and hopefully these people learn a very hard lesson. I personally, although I do not like to see good people lose their jobs, I am personally waiting for I put a counter on my phone for today. This what the hell is it called? Unknown 9 Awakening. I'm waiting for the day it comes out so I can revel in its failure, because this is a Sweet Baby Inc. made game, and I am just... Oh,
they actually made the game?
Yeah. She what the heck is it? I'm brain farting on her name.
Kim Belair.
Yes, Kim Belair wrote this game and has overseen the production of it.
It's gonna be so bad.
It was supposed to be this massive multimedia thing. There are books. There was supposed to be an animation to accompany it, and this game is tracking so poorly it's not even popping up on the PlayStation Store. So
what's the name of it?
Unknown 9 Awakening.
Oh,
look,
at the end of the day, Kim Belair, people are boycotting games just because somebody who used to work at Sweet Baby Inc. might be on the development team. A game actually created by Kim Belair. Oh man, nobody's gonna go for that.
I love that term you said earlier, Marvin. Gaming is where woke goes to die. And I mean, that is pretty accurate, because you take the gaming culture compared to, say, the movie culture. You look at movies, movies have to appeal to a very broad audience. A lot of people, say they're busy, raising families, or they have stuff going on in their lives. A lot of times, movies can be not necessarily their passion. It's there to be a little bit of a time killer to kind of ease the stresses of the day. Gaming, outside of for people like their families, is literally their life for a lot of people. A lot of people, it's their passion. And a lot of gamers don't give credit to how creative they are from experiencing and how much thought time they had to give into these worlds. And you're seeing that a lot when I believe it was Lauren who was saying in like not the AAA, but the AA games, the indie scene is exploding more than it ever has before. And you're seeing not just a rejection, but a counter movement of new types of games being made. And I think with it's been alluded to a lot, especially from Pro and such, where with the AI revolution that's happening now, if this starts happening in the movie sphere as well, to where people are making movies of their own outside of Hollywood, it's just game over for the quote unquote woke direction that all these activists wanted to take these studios in.
And that's exact. My feeling is that's exactly why Disney and Paramount shut down all these fan-driven projects. They're
scared.
Hold on, guys. Before we go any deeper into this, our friend Lauren kind of does have to go, so I do need to sadly say goodnight to Lauren. Lauren, tell the good folks where they can find more about what you're up to.
Well, I've been appearing here every Thursday. You can see me on WDW Pro's channel. You can find me at Lauren Connor on Twitter or Lauren Connor 9030 on YouTube. I'm on the Genre Guys with Lou Wasserman's Ghost and Hankry Table for weekly movies. Throw a rock, you'll find me somewhere.
Absolutely. Lauren,
it was a big rock.
We appreciate you. You bring so much to the show. You're one of my favorite people on this planet. Thank you very much for being here today.
You bet. Had a great time, everybody. Hope you all have a great week. I'll see you again next time.
Bye, Lauren.
See you soon.
Take care, brother. Bye, Lauren.
I love that guy.
And then there were 4.
Yes.
And they were amazing.
Oh, could you imagine if they tried to remake that movie now? You wouldn't be able to.
And then there were none.
You wouldn't be able to do the Little Indians poem It'd be like,
yeah. Well, they make them sailors now, I think, because it's gone through so many iterations. You know, over and this is not even a recent thing. It's just been
Sailor
changed
Scouts?
over time. It was first. It was something I won't say. I believe. Then it was Indians, and then I think it's sailors. And they changed the title from 10 Little Indians to And Then There Were None. Because I love that story. So they would keep the ending though. They'd have no problem with the ending. Not to spoil it, but if you know, you know. So, you know. It's good though. If you haven't seen it or read it, it's a good story.
Marv is going to bounce out. I have the power of the admin.
Watch out, guys. Kevin's taking over.
This is
the power is
parents
flickering,
are
so
gone.
rebooting. That's right.
All right, everybody in the audience. We're gonna order all the pizza. We're gonna invite everybody to Marvin's stream. So we're gonna put the link in the chat. And
I couldn't keep the chat open. It was freezing my camera. So apologies to that, everyone. Normally I like to chime in, but
Marvin comes back and we have like 12 people we randomly added from the audience into the stream.
We've got some good blows, but while we're waiting for Marv to get back, everybody help us with the algorithms and click the like, click the subscribe, share, tell your friends, give us some super chats, help us out a little bit here. We're suffering. We need you. We need the loves. We need all the loves.
We'll stream for food. We'll stream for food.
See, I have a topic, but now I'm like, do I wait for Marv to come back or do I just bring it up?
Just bring it up. You can jump in.
It's sort of a rewind, but did you guys see I think they called it a teaser, but it really felt more like a trailer for Thunderbolts.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought it looked kind of decent. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit intrigued by it. I'm skeptical, but I kind of looked at it and was like, okay, this doesn't look so drastically. I don't really know what the story is, but I'm kind of curious as to what it is, which I think is a good sign.
It's okay to like it. I mean, it's got the girl from who was the girl in Black Widow? The girl
Elena.
She was with in it. I loved her in that movie, so I know I'd like her in this.
And I think it's got what's
in the role.
Oh,
he's back.
Sorry.
We weren't giving the Thunderbolts praise. Nope, we weren't at all. Nope.
Were you actually?
We just started talking about it.
Oh, you know what? If you're talking about it, well, why don't we watch the actual trailer?
Can we do that?
This is my first time seeing it. Okay.
Pause it a bunch and talk over it. That's all.
So yeah, sorry about that, guys. My entire power just flickered off and on. I'm really hoping it doesn't happen again, because
they're trying to take you down, Marvin.
Well, some slag named Helene is trying to take my power out.
I love that insult.
That's why.
Is that a word? Is that like an actual word?
It's like
it's like a British term.
I like that word. We need to use it here.
Yeah, I agree.
Not all right, so proper woman.
Yes. All right, let me boot this up. So now the way we can make this work.
Uh-oh.
The ninja's got him.
I can do it from here. I'd have to go find it. Let me see. Just in case.
I had a friend send me something, and then I kind of went down the bunny trail. But if I found it, you can find it. That's the way I look.
I'm picturing Kevin's having like the back computer. We just don't see it from our point of view, seeing the camera. Like he has all the glowing lights and stuff. It's like, here, we'll use my system.
Well, it's like I am only capable of using technology that I need to use. Outside of that, it is I immediately morph into your stereotypical like 97-year-old. I turn into Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino. Just this ancient withered man.
Okay.
Just scowling.
Oh, sorry about that. It happened again.
You know what, Kevin? Pull it up anyway, just in case. Just be prepared.
All right. Ready,
Kevin's
guys?
Going all back computer.
All right. Can we see this okay? Here we go.
Yeah.
I click leave on porch. Your subordinates will be reported to DoorDash HQ.
Alexi, it's me.
More high comedy.
Yeah, that's what I thought of at the start. I was like, all right.
Elena?
Yes, we get it. White man pathetic. Thank you.
Hold on! Elena!
Hi, Dad.
Sorry, but
Here's the thing I want to point out about this trailer as we start to get into it.
It's dark.
It's dark, yeah, very dark, but it's Black Widow 2. Like it's Black Widow 2 masquerading as
Black
the
Widow.
Well, she is Black Widow now.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
I call her Widow Le Pew because it's Florence Pugh. But
I was thinking Pepe Le Pew. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to
thinking
think.
too.
Yeah.
Hello, my sweet love muffin. I am
They
here
call me Black Widow.
I am here to get cancelled for my overtly sexual advances. No, just means yes.
No, so but by the way, I do feel really good for her for one specific reason. I'm just so happy that she gets to be famous enough now where she no longer has to pretend to be attracted to Zach Braff and his turkey neck. So
I knew where you were going with it.
She no longer has to think to be like, no, enormous Adam's apples are very attractive in a man.
I've never noticed that, and now it's all I'm going to be able to see. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I wish you got to hang out with Faison, though. He seems like he's fun.
Yeah, I am happy for her that you got to hang out with Donald Faison.
it's an important call. Highly classified. Lot of work. Many irons in fire.
You feel fulfilled?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so full. So filled. But why do you ask this? What brings you here?
This really looks like it's her movie. It should be Bucky's movie, but it looks like it's her movie. Am I wrong about that?
That's
It's
what
probably
happened.
both
I will
their
say,
movies.
yeah, he's in the trailer a fair amount, so I don't think he's going to be too.
Yeah,
You know?
and you want to, and you're gonna want to hide.
It's a
him,
question for
though,
later in
because
the trailer.
Yeah,
What was that, Kevin?
Yeah,
I think you're gonna want to hide him too because one, he is a legacy character. Everybody loves the Winter Soldier. But I mean, to her credit, I thought she was great in the Hawkeye show. To the point that I actually wanted to see her more of her and Kate Bishop together. I thought
they were great together. I loved that.
So it's and listen, you have to do when you cast strong people and they actually give you strong performances. It is kind of silly that in there we know we messed this up, but we can't admit that we messed this up. That you have all this talent floating around, but you haven't done anything with them. There's no reason she hasn't popped up again. I before Spencer pops up, if he's popping in today, there is no reason that Shang-Chi hasn't gotten a sequel yet. This is silly. If the movie worked, if the character worked, you're supposed to put the character out there.
I'm afraid to say. Sorry, go ahead. I thought you were done.
I'm afraid he's gonna pop up and kick me.
I'm afraid to say
There
I
is
kind of
no
enjoyed
reason
Shang-Chi.
that Spencer should not be
I love
here right
Shang-Chi.
now.
I love Shang-Chi, and Spencer is. I believe Spencer doesn't hate. He doesn't hate Shang-Chi. He just hates Simu Liu.
I know, but I just know if I'm like I kind of enjoyed Shang-Chi, he's gonna be like, see Liam.
I haven't heard from Spencer all day, so I don't know if he's coming tonight or not.
There is something wrong with me. An emptiness.
I do love that we have a Black Widow finally that has a Russian accent.
Yeah,
because that was the thing that I always hated with ScarJo. Which by the way, you also can't go turn around and do like bring her back the way you brought Robert Downey Jr. back because her and Disney Marvel are not on good terms after that lawsuit.
Nope.
Yeah, wait, what was that about before you press play? Because I feel like I know, but I don't know.
They, instead of releasing, because it came out during COVID, instead of releasing the Black Widow movie in theaters, they released it on Disney Plus as like a premium content that people could buy separately.
I saw it in the theater.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah, but they also released it at the same time on Disney Plus, which meant the box office was less. And I believe she got a cut in her contract of the box office proceeds. So it was like they were
cut into her money.
they were cutting into her money by putting it on Disney Plus, and I think she was suing
Convenient.
for a piece of that pie. Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but I know it was ugly, and they said they said some pretty messed up things about it too.
And apparently, I know at least one of the upcoming projects, or some of them, she's actually being listed on some Disney projects as like a producer. So she's actually getting her name on some of these projects now.
Yeah, they had to give her a lot of money, and to try to make nice, they threw a bunch of projects at her, to try to calm it down, because if she had pursued it, she would have broken their backs. It would have been really ugly.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just
There's Bucky
drifting, and I don't have purpose.
Okay, so who is going to be the biggest sad sack comic relief in this? Is it going to be Red Guardian or is it going to be U.S. Agent? Because they love to poop all over U.S. Agent in these Marvel properties.
Without having finished Winter Soldier and Sam, I feel like he's going to be straight sad. Like he's going to be like the serious sad storyline, and then they'll use. You don't think
they're gonna just humiliate him every 2 seconds?
Well, I think if they do, I think it'll be more straightforward and break him more, because like even this right here, it's far more dramatic and serious than what they just showed David Harbour doing. So I think David Harbour will be like that comedic relief.
Mm-hmm. I hate the way they portrayed U.S. Agent in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, because the Falcon and Winter Soldier show very clearly wanted you to root for specific people and root against other people. But the people they wanted you to root for were like disgusting terrorists who were blowing up a hospital. And the people they wanted you to hate was this decorated war hero who accepted a job that he was offered.
I nearly had an aneurysm with some of that stuff. I was just like, oh, stop trying to make me feel bad for these people. There's nothing for me to feel bad about.
I stopped watching when they were in Baltimore and the cops
they were on the street.
Sam. And I'm like, first of all, can we stop? He is an Avenger. He is a decorated war hero. And he's in Baltimore.
He couldn't get a loan.
The cops are, first of all, and then I was like, and on top of it, he's running Black Ops for the US government. How did he not have the money to do what he needed to do? How did you not give Sam Wilson a loan? And then, can we be honest? The cops aren't stopping a black guy in Baltimore in a black neighborhood and asking him if he's buying drugs. They're stopping the white guy who's in the black neighborhood talking to a black guy if he's buying drugs.
You're not wrong.
I was like, I'm trying, and I can't do this. It didn't turn on my Disney Plus until someone said Luke Skywalker might be in the season finale of The Mandalorian.
You got to do better, Senator.
Self into work was the answer.
So clearly she's working for Elaine Bennis.
Yes. For a doll.
Ooh. I think this is supposed to be the big scene where you just feel like, oh, all these characters that I love teaming up or like meeting each other for the first time, and it's like, it's fake Taskmaster and Ghost and US Agent.
I forgot all about Ghost.
Everybody did.
I feel a ton of hype seeing her back again after Black Widow, because she was my favorite part of that film. But seeing all the rest, I'm like, I don't know who the rest of these people even are. Mm-hmm. Like, who are these people?
Well,
like,
he's about to tell you.
You really have to see the shows to know who they are.
He's about to tell you.
Who are you?
I'm Bob.
Who sent you, Bob?
Nobody. You were all sent?
So that's Sentry. Now, you guys, obviously, I know Kevin knows, but Nolan and Trish, do you guys know who the Sentry is?
I feel like I've got, it's like a robot-y looking thing with like.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, then no, I don't.
Were you thinking the X-Men guy too? Galactus? Is that what we were thinking of?
I don't know.
So I'll sum up real quick.
Yeah,
Take
please do.
Everything that you could love about Superman and then strip it away and give him blonde hair and psychological problems.
Yeah.
So Nuclear Man?
He kind of is Nuclear Man.
But not as
Nuclear
cool.
Man. Yeah.
Bring me my girl.
Wait. Less cool than Nuclear Man?
For people. My favorite line.
I loved how, like, she's like, who sent you, Bob? Brian Michael Bendis? because this, Brian Michael Bendis decided.
This is definitely not who I was thinking of.
Yeah, so the Sentry is essentially Marvel wanted to make a Superman level character, and to make because Marvel doesn't understand how to actually write Superman, and Brian Michael Bendis does not understand how to write Superman, even though he eventually went on to write Superman. They gave him a split personality and like this weird psychological issues, to the point where, like, in the Secret Invasion story in the comics, the Jarvis Scroll, like one of the other Scrolls says to the Jarvis Scroll, "Oh my God, they got a guy who like throws stuff into the sun. This is a huge problem." He's like, "Nah, it won't be a problem." And when the Skrulls invade and they're attacking, the Sentry's like, "Who sent you?" And he goes, "You did, Bob. I'm the Void. You're doing all of this right now." And the Sentry runs away crying.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I was very happy when we decided to just splatter his brains with Thor's hammer, so that the character
Thor killed him.
And then they found a way to do it.
We know I love
But now
Thor.
they brought him back. They brought him back as a woman now, didn't they? I'm pretty sure in modern Marvel. Now, originally, this character was being played by Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead, and
Who's this?
which I don't know. It's not Steven Yeun
because he doesn't look familiar to me.
No, me neither. Something happened, and he was like, "I'm not doing this movie."
Oh, I can tell you because David Herbert talked about it.
Oh, what was it?
The script kept changing to the point that they didn't actually know what they were filming, and then it got delayed, and Stevie ran out of there. Then they decided to make the Sentry a woman, and then the actress was like, "I can't do this," and then she ran out, and then they got this guy. But yeah, like the story was changing daily. So half of them.
The last I heard, the Sentry is supposed to be the villain that they fight in this.
I would.
Well, it's Bill Pullman's son, for whatever that's worth to anybody.
Okay.
Lewis Pullman. So
okay,
let's see if he got his dad's chops.
Continuing on,
we're all sent.
Everyone here has done bad things. Shadow Ops.
Not him. He hasn't done bad things. He's a decorated U.S. soldier who killed a terrorist. Everybody was like,
head. You're supposed to be mad at him for that.
Terrorist who just murdered his best friend. Another, by the way, decorated U.S. soldier. So, we've all done bad things. He should raise his hand and be like, "Not me.
I just got bad press."
Yeah.
I hope they do that in the movie.
In government labs. Contract kills.
Yeah, so?
So, someone wants us gone.
Oh, boy.
What the hell?
It's interesting that they're not actually having the Sentry, like, do anything in this trailer. You don't see him in his suit.
Good guys.
Yeah, you have to save it.
They're back.
Well, so we see, we see here the bullet holes in the thing, in the shirt. So clearly that is the Sentry. He is bulletproof. Yeah.
And they're bad guys.
What's the plan?
All right, Bucky taking his arm out of the dishwasher. I could do without that. That was dumb.
That made me laugh. I liked that.
I kind of like it too. It's kind of the right kind of stupid, as opposed to the normal
gone.
stupid
T'Challa's gone. He he's got to take care of it somehow.
Although he's not Steve, he is better at tech.
Like,
the one thing,
pretend that Pepper wouldn't be fronting everybody's bill still.
Pepper's like, "This money's mine now. I don't know you people anymore.
I have a daughter. Go away."
Peter Parker's in danger, and my husband ruined his life. I don't care. F that kid.
Yeah.
This could get messy.
That was cool.
But eventually, you come to realize that there are bad guys, and there are worse guys, and nothing else. Look at you. So adorable.
With the asterisk.
Don't worry, she's bulletproof. What happened to bulletproof? It's bulletproof-ish.
Is that Bucky?
That's not good.
Oh, that's what he did to Nick Fury.
That trailer was a lot better than I thought it would be. Although I am getting kind of tired of this trend that's happening. I noticed a lot in a lot of modern Hollywood trailers for TV shows. Even I think the Acolyte might have done this too, where towards the end, before we get the epic scene with Bucky, it's like the slow pause of the song, you know, where it's like, here's this character, and she's just standing there doing nothing. It's like, oh, she's a big deal. Why is she a big deal? Show me why she's a big deal, please. Right. Go back to her. Why do I care?
We've been doing that since the Suicide Squad trailer. Oh, sorry,
right there.
Suicide Squad.
Which speaking of the squad,
since the squad.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry because YouTube is run by a bunch of things I can't say in public. We can't use words because adults might I don't know, do something that rational people wouldn't do. But I'm sorry. The self-deletion squad.
Yes,
deletion squad.
Task Force X.
Speaking of,
this reeks of just being the squad. It reeks of being Task Force X.
That's what I was afraid of with this trailer. It's because like a lot of things recently have been trying to be the squad, and we got to think back to as much
why
as I'm the person.
No squad related property has succeeded.
Exactly.
The first one made over $800 million without China and sold tons of records. It was very popular.
The first movie?
First one was a massive hit. It would have made over $1 billion if it got released in China. And the soundtrack made tons of money. I'd say it was
Thank you, 21 Pilots.
Yeah, it was the difference of the critics liked rock and roll and the movie was hip hop. Is the best way I can describe it to people about why this movie doesn't get the love it should have gotten. And then the Juggalo Joker.
Yeah.
Juggalo Joker.
Oh, hold on. This made me happy. Butterbiscuit92 just became a YouTube member. Welcome, my friend. Butterbiscuit's a great supporter over on the That Bach Place channels and on Pro's channel. I'm super psyched to see you here, Butterbiscuit. Welcome to the Tooney Town community. And John JID 999 for 199, power to 199, says no one is going to see this. It's too random and unconnected. I am going to be very interested to see. People do love their Bucky. People love their Bucky. Yelena is very popular. So I think it might be.
I'll give it a shot. I'm sold to give it a shot.
Yelena Bucky movie. They are the anchors, but again, it should not have taken this long to get this movie out.
Yeah, I agree.
I did have a friend who said she saw that and she said she wanted to see it. So I think it's somewhat appealing to people. You know what I mean? Like it's not leaving a bad impression.
Agreed. I think it goes very well with the mentality of something we've been missing is we want characters we want to see. We will go to see those characters. We saw it with Deadpool and Wolverine. People like Bucky. They like Yelena, and I'm going for Yelena because I loved her in Black Widow, and Bucky's got his undying legion of fans. It was simple. Like, it worked for the Avengers. I'll take this over, hey, let's see Ironheart and Captain Marvel, and is there any other bottom grade characters I'm forgetting?
The Eternals.
Agatha.
Yeah, the Eternals.
That was the first movie I could see. I looked at it, I was like, this looks so boring.
My sister comes with me to every Marvel movie, and the Eternals was the one I was like, hey, no, she came with me to the Eternals. The Marvels was the one where she was like, I'm out, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. I probably would have been out there if the Eternals didn't happen.
Yeah. So speaking of Marvel, we do have one more Marvel related story to get to this week, and then I probably want to wrap a little early just because the
weather.
I feel like I'm running on borrowed time with the weather right now. So I do want to get through this story though because
Lee's being generous to you right now.
it's one of our favorite Tooney Town frequent flyers that we always love to talk about on the show. Yes, it is. It is Beau DeMayo.
Our boy Beau.
Good friend Beau DeMayo. Fired X-Men 97 showrunner Beau DeMayo claims Disney instructed him to make Magneto and Professor X, quote, less gay.
This is like telling the sun not to be hot. It's impossible.
So DeMayo shared his experience following Screen Rant's coverage of a rumor from IGN's Alex Stedman, which cited multiple anonymous individuals at Disney and claimed that Disney executives blamed the failure of Lightyear on its inclusion of a gay kiss and instructed Pixar creatives to make Inside Out 2, quote, less gay. One source told Stedman, it is, as far as I know, still a thing where leadership, they'll bring up Lightyear specifically and say, oh, Lightyear was a financial failure because it had a queer kiss in it. That's not the reason the movie failed. Regarding Inside Out
fatherhood,
yes,
and they didn't use Tim Allen.
It was also a terrible film. It was just a terrible movie.
What happened to color?
You eviscerated the concept of fatherhood and the importance of fathers, and then you jammed in the kiss. But it's like that was just like the cherry on top of the poop sundae.
It was like the third strike.
The film was ugly. What kid is gonna want to watch that?
Yeah, it was just a bad movie, man.
It's insane they didn't put Tim Allen in it. To me, I know he doesn't politically align with them so much, but I mean,
but you know what? He's still in the Santa Claus every
that's
Christmas
what I'm
season.
saying. He's still in the Santa Claus, and those always do decently. Like people just like him in that. And, like he is Buzz Lightyear. Like that voice. No offense, Chris Evans, but
that was them trying to say we don't need you for Buzz Lightyear. Look at how much money we're going to make without you.
I like how we all did different failures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! I'm looking for a Beau DeMayo tweet from recently. That oh my god, his Twitter is.
Was it another drawing of him as
DeMayo?
It's just all pictures of him. It's just pictures of his body. Like, never mind. I'm just gonna tell you from memory what the tweet was.
That's Spencer and Spencer only
showing his junk. Can we reboot all the Bo Jackson Bo Knows stuff and just make him about Beau DeMayo doing just uncomfortable things?
Nothing says I'm not a predator who harassed and made my staff uncomfortable than forcing everybody to go to your OnlyFans page in order to read your story.
Beau knows baby oil.
Yeah, I'm sure Beau does. I'd love to know how much baby oil Beau's got in his house. I'm sure it's a little bit less than Diddy because he doesn't make as much money. But
he doesn't live near
no, it's because he doesn't live next to Costco.
Yeah. Regarding Inside Out 2, Stedman wrote.
No one asked for.
Multiple people recall hearing about less continuous notes to make Riley the main character of both Inside Out movies come across less gay, according to numerous edits that ramped up around September 2023 after the resolution of the WGA strike. Sources, despite rumors that there was special care put into making the relationship between Riley and Val a supporting character introduced in Inside Out 2, seem as platonic as possible, even requiring edits to the lighting and tone of certain scenes to remove any trace of romantic chemistry. Now, we did talk about this in the past. So DeMayo wrote, heard the same words, less gay, on X-Men 97 when it came to Magnus and Xavier, as well as marketing. He also reacted to Attitude's coverage of IGN's report, writing on X, this happens a lot more than you think. Often it's done more subtly. For example, X-Men 97 crew and I fought hard to have Storm's skin toned darker and more accurate to her heritage versus the OG show. He continued, Marvel noted that if we were being so accurate about her skin color, then Storm shouldn't have white hair either. These sort of micro-aggressive notes, I tune out the second people use these terms, are designed to domino backwards and kill the initial idea, as Marvel knows we're not changing Storm's hair color. He then accused the executives of racism. Then came the usual racist, well, if Storm's too dark, we won't be able to see her in nighttime or dark scenes. We went ahead and did it anyway. Turns out there's a thing in animation called lighting. In another post, he went, okay, let's talk about the X-Men, the Xavier and Magneto thing being gay before I talk about the Magneto thing that we're about to talk about, because that's a whole other level.
Since Chris Claremont geniusly rebooted the Magneto character, because everybody's saying the Magneto character was extremely one-dimensional. He was a hyper-violent supremacist.
Yeah.
That was it. There was nothing there. And then Claremont was like, well, like, this is the main villain. We got nothing to do with him. How do I make him sympathetic? Okay, let's turn this on its head. This guy survived the Holocaust and has super PTSD and has become the thing that he hates the most. And then boom, you had a master class in character development.
After the Age of Apocalypse movie, I remember my buddy said to me, he's like, "Man, this guy's got to get off the Austrian painter's back because at this point he's killed more people than him."
Yes. So I was like, but since then, the entire history, the last 35 years, but 40 something years of the X-Men history has been the team dealing with this lovers quarrel. It just is what it is. These two old queens get into an argument and things start blowing up.
It didn't help in the movies. Look, I never read gayness. I read that they were brothers, they were friends. Obviously, we make jokes about it, but apparently, I would assume now. Beau DeMayo is the guy who, when Morph and Wolverine had that moment when Wolverine is injured at the end, and everybody was like, "They're a couple," and everybody else was like, "No, they're not." He accused the fans of straight washing them.
Well,
I'm about to straight wash my eyes out with bleach if I have to see that happen on the
straight wash.
Wolverine is very much so a straight male, and
yes, can we
Morph,
stop?
Whatever. Morph was a borrowed character that no one really cared about anyway. He was the changeling, and he served his whole purpose was we need to find a way to fake Xavier's death for a reader fake out.
If Disney gave him a note that said make them less gay, I actually believe they probably gave him that note. Yeah. Probably because he probably made them super, super gay.
What you mean?
They didn't like the 5-minute makeout scene he originally planned?
Magnus, take off your helmet and look deeply into my eyes.
Charles, I can read your thoughts. I know what you're thinking.
Charles Scott might see us with our hands in our pockets walking down the hall. What would he think?
I know exactly what he thinks. I'm Professor Xavier. I know what everyone thinks.
Okay, a romance novel set at the X-Men Academy might actually be a banger.
And look, they didn't. I bet you he made them come off more gay than it came off with Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, who typically kiss. So. Which, by the way, I don't believe Patrick Stewart is gay. I believe he's straight as an arrow. I think he's just very entertained by Ian McKellen.
But I will say this, then. I will say this. I think in order to nail Magneto the way Ian McKellen did, you probably do have to be a gay man. Because there is a certain magical flair that certain gay men have that take theatricality to a next level. And my favorite part, it's super prevalent in X2 when he pulls the iron from the fat guard's blood. He's throwing the balls all over the place, and then he floats into the screen like majestic, like that
with the arms crossed in front of him like that. I love that.
Yeah, when the arms crossed, and he stretches them out, and like he essentially mugs for the camera.
Yeah. No, he was the perfect Magneto, man. He really was. But Beau DeMayo was very clearly trying to push ideology into the show in a way that I think he was probably stopped by people ahead of him, which is part of the reason why he's having the hissy fit that he's been having. It gets worse when you read the next thing that we're going to talk about. So
I find him so entertaining. I can't.
Yeah, I do too. I do too, because he's so tone deaf to the fact that he's destroying his own career.
Not in a way that I want to go to his only.
On giving.
The delusion is incredible. I love it. I love it. I hope he never stops.
In another post, he went on to claim that at one point during the show, Disney requested he put briefs on Magneto when he was crucified on an X. DeMayo's original idea was to have him naked. He had Magneto as a naked man strapped to, John is being kind, calling it an X. It is a St. Andrew's cross. Okay. That's what it is. It is a very typical, accoutrement used in certain adult communities. And he had a naked buff Magneto strapped to it. He wrote, originally he was nude and the beat played as dehumanizing torture. It was Marvel's idea to put him in briefs. The crew and I were so beaten down by that point, we just gave each other looks, knowing their note would do the opposite. Such is ignorance.
Such is ignorance is a brilliant line.
So I guess you can bleep me out for the replay. Did he really think that on this planet, Disney was going to be okay with Magneto being dick out on a cartoon?
Yeah. Hanging brain.
Just hanging.
He goes
blown in the breeze.
He goes on, he says, it was covered artistically with shadows and angles. And I'm like, yeah, but he's still a nude man strapped to a St. Andrew's cross.
Better or worse than the nude penguin?
I would.
You know what I thought of? I thought of this story about that we just saw about Chris Jericho when Vince wanted him naked. He's like, well, what are we gonna do now? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Better than that.
Now what are we gonna do?
It's just like, why is that the only option?
Why is it just 100? Why can't we go to maybe 50% and have briefs on it?
I'm picturing like one of those
amazing.
like in behind the scenes interviews where they're talking about the struggles of making a movie, and it's like at that point we're doing nude Magneto, we're not doing the movie, and that's where it was.
I can't believe I agreed to them doing this nude St. Andrew's cross scene. What am I kidding? Agreed. I insisted.
Where's the gag ball? He's supposed to have a gag ball.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that the people at Disney came to me and they were like, you have to take those nipple clamps off of him.
You are destroying my vision.
Such is ignorance.
When he says his line, the fentanyl balls are supposed to drop on the floor. What is this?
Look, I understand that the anal beads might cross a few lines with the censors, but the artistic integrity of the scene.
Are they made out of adamantium?
Very much. No, because otherwise he'd be able to pull them out.
Metal.
Yeah.
What about this? Do you not understand?
It just cuts to that scene in X-Men 3. Plastic.
See, the thing is, they have to use the cat of nine tails on him, because if they used a metal weapon, then he'd just, he'd just stop. He'd just stop it because he's Magneto. Such is ignorance.
I don't know how you would.
Now I'm picturing him taking a bunch of female pleasure objects and using them as projectiles and shooting them at people.
I'm shocked that that's not what came out of Wolverine's hands. With Beau DeMayo in charge of this show.
Beau, please come on the show. We need you.
Like the
batteries.
I hope they got as far as actually animating this and sending it off to Disney, and then like somebody at Disney was like, "Action required."
I'm just picturing like they're filming this scene. Things are about to go after dark style so fast, and then the Disney lawyers just kick down the freaking door. Stop everything!
Everything you're doing, stop all of it.
Beau, we need you to stop lingering at your employees through the crack in the bathroom stall and come down to Bob's office, please. We have to have a quick conversation.
Hold on. I'm just sending some pictures to my animators to inspire them. It just so happens to be me with some of Diddy's baby oil.
Just
I cannot believe
communication.
I just tried to like cycle through his Twitter to find, because I didn't know if John had the thing about Magneto being strapped to the St. Andrew's cross in the article. I thought for some reason that he didn't. And I tried to scroll Twitter, and his Twitter is just pictures of him shirtless. I'm just like, what are you doing, man?
I don't know what you guys are so. I don't know what you guys are so up in arms about. This all seems perfectly reasonable to put in an X-Men cartoon.
Yeah. Well, clearly you're not reading, and we're not reading the nuance.
Listen, I understand the art of the lighting. You just gotta think more artistically about it.
So somebody here said to him, I mean, ultimately Disney is an entertainment company and have no duty to push social things on audiences. And he goes, true, but when they stop misinterpreting two males exchanging a look of brotherly solidarity before battle as too gay and one exec's favorite word, creepy, there's an issue. I'm willing to bet it was creepy.
I kind of like that someone used creepy.
Yeah.
Charles, as I hang here from this cross, do you think it's appropriate to be staring at my genitals in such this way?
Yeah, right? It's like, all of this. I don't understand. Why did you make it sexual? I don't understand.
It's glistening.
I mean, I'm not saying to look away, Charles. I'm just questioning. Oh my goodness. DeMayo's claims a suspect, given that the show was heavily promoted by claiming that Morph was non-binary. We all remember that. Yeah.
So like it's 1997. That didn't exist. Stop it.
I know. And it's he also revealed during an X-Men 60 Uncanny Years live stream hosted by Marvel that the entire series was based on his experience as a gay black man. He stated, came up with a pitched it to Kevin Feige, and him and Brad could not have been more supportive and also just encouraging to make sure we got it right. I think one of my favorite parts was like they were truly interested in what my experience was as a black gay man and how it was going to inform the story we were telling. And that to them was like, this is how we're going to make this authentic. No, it's not.
It's like he used to write fanfics with self-inserts on Wattpad and then just decided, you know what? I need to just really apply it to the X-Men and bring my art to a wider audience. Like, on the surface, that sounds like something that teenage girls do.
Oh, Trish, you pretty much summarized our modern comic book industry. Just get a bunch of Tumblr writers.
Because that really is what it sounds like. Oh, they were interested in my experience as a game. What does that have to do with anything with this? It's like no place.
I know that they were going for to play devil's advocate here. I think they were trying to refer to at that time period feeling like an outcast. And maybe Feige was thinking, yeah, he's gonna really bring about how the mutants feel and everything. I don't think he was thinking St. Andrew's Cross.
Oh, look, Spencer said his stream is running so long, but he's trying to get here Titans together.
Yeah, Spencer.
Come on,
you heard us talk about Shang-Chi. You heard our positivity about Shang-Chi.
Yeah, he heard you say you liked Shang-Chi, and he was like,
sorry,
Trish,
it's my fault.
Is it like saying Beetlejuice? If you say it enough, Spencer just gets riled up for no reason, but doesn't know why.
Yeah. So
come on, Spencer, join. We were saying positive things about the Squad 2016. Come on, you want to join.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, the St. Andrew's Cross, so that is the thing that I can't get past. And that he brought it up as though it vindicated him. Like, yeah, I wanted to have naked Magneto strapped to a St. Andrew's Cross.
Like, it's insane that he doesn't think that's insane to put in this.
Part is so like that that got turned into a meme. Sexy Magneto was trending for like the entire weekend that episode dropped.
With the collar on his neck and
that's what he wanted.
Yeah, it's like should a 70-year-old man really have an 8-pack? Whatever.
Why shouldn't he have an 8-pack?
I suppose.
And then, he went on this big rant about how horrible Marvel is and how racist everyone is and how, they said he looked like Wesley Snipes, which he found to be when he was writing on Blade. And talking about and I'm like, wait a minute. So you were writing on Blade and they were being horribly racist. Clearly you also worked on Doctor Strange Mom because, you were talking about stuff with that too. Why do you continue to work for this company if they're that bad? If they've beaten you down the way you say, why do you continue to take new projects from them? Why not go over to Warner Brothers and be like, let me do something with Batman? Why
stay away from Batman.
Shop yourself around? Well, that's the thing. X-Men 97 is good. I like X-Men 97. He actually told a good story.
Really he actually right about now.
He actually has some talent.
Marvin,
hold on, Nolan. I'm talking.
Go ahead, sorry.
The problem is that I completely lost it. What were you gonna say?
Well, no, what I was trying to say for my Penguin rant earlier was when I wanted more fantasy elements in my Batman, that's not what I meant when I meant those kind of fantasies.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he means.
Oh, you don't want 50 Shades of Gotham?
Sorry, Marvin, get your points.
We got 50 Shades of Genosha here.
Don't
I think
he
started talking about
ideas. Honestly, it's out there in the universe now. It's going to happen.
How much do you think Disney had to interfere to kind of stop those things out of it that he was trying to put into it? Now remember, we know this show is clearly intended for people like us who watched the original cartoon growing up. But it's also going to be watched by kids. You have to assume it's going to be watched by kids.
I don't think it was that bad. I think he was probably encouraged to push the envelope because it was on Disney Plus and not on Fox Kids. So they're probably like, hey, you've got a pretty long leash. Go do what you want to go do. Because again, he did a great job, you know, on other projects. But it's that weird space that we find ourselves in where, you know, the modern day mentality of people who are successful in the past, they just can't get out of their own way. And like Trish said, they are obsessed with the self-insert. And he just, I bet if we had a spy camera there, the conversation about sexy Magneto on the cross was probably not anywhere near as intense as he's making it out to be. He's just throwing a temper. He is being a 14-year-old girl who was scolded and can't use her iPhone, and it's just like, I hate you, I hope you die.
Not that you're dealing with a tween.
Yeah, no, that was oddly specific.
Yeah, no, not that I have a horrible demon from the depths who pops out every once in a blue moon, and then when you feed her, she becomes happy.
Do you think Disney removed the door from Beau DeMayo's office like you did for your daughter?
You know what it probably was? Because it sounds so childish. They were probably like, don't. And he was probably annoying about it. So then they were like, don't. Again. And rinse and repeat a few times until they're probably like, no. And that's when he was like, they were so aggressive about it. It was probably like the 50th time they had to tell him no.
But Ken, I want Magneto sack out. Why can't I have Magneto sack out?
They're fighting about Magneto on the cross. They're fighting about Storm's skin color. They're fighting about Xavier and Magneto sharing a look. Clearly, they were fighting about a lot of things.
It's almost as if he wanted to make a show that wasn't the show he was working on.
Uh-huh. He wanted a show about being a gay black man.
So write one.
Yeah, write one and put it out. Write a comic book. We
know how this goes. These guys, for whatever reason, don't want to take the time to create the new IP. And yes, listen, some of it is we know that these studios are so creatively bankrupt that they don't want to take a chance on a new IP. But I'll give Beau DeMayo credit. He has given us some fantastic scripts. There are clearly creative, I guess for lack of a better word, juices that flow through this man. So he clearly has the mutton chops, and probably the assless chaps, to tell a good story. But
all chaps are assless, by the way. It just matter whether or not you wear pants underneath.
It's funnier when you say assless chaps.
I know
it is funny.
It's for comedic effect. Just like shadow placement.
I agree.
We know it's there, but so he clearly can do it. But is a company really going to go, well, here's $100 million to go make your movie about a gay black man? Well, what does he do? Well, he's just gay and black and sends inappropriate inter-office emails.
I have an example of this. It's maybe not exactly this audience, but it is like, and just like that, the Sex and the City spinoff was clearly Cynthia Nixon wanting to tell her life story, and nobody wanted to fund Cynthia Nixon's life story.
Wait, so there was a Sex and the City spinoff?
It is on a hellish third season. I gave up after like halfway through the first season.
Wait,
it's terrible.
On as in currently?
Yeah, and they keep renewing
What's it called?
What character does it follow?
It follows everyone but Samantha, because Kim Cattrall was like, absolutely not. I'm not becoming a part of this mess. So it's the other three.
Wait. So like Sarah Jessica Parker is in it?
And so is
I've heard
Kristen
nothing
Davis.
of this. I've heard nothing of this.
I've heard of this.
I've heard of this horrific Frasier reboot that is currently on.
No,
that,
honestly,
it somehow got a second season that no one watches.
I don't need to have seen a second of the Frasier reboot to say with all sincerity, it's not as bad as And Just Like That. I just call it the Sex and the City reboot. It is literally
Matthew James, isn't that just the Golden Girls?
Touche,
They're old.
They're
old. Golden Palace wasn't that bad, and it gave us Don Cheadle.
Golden Palace was all of them except for Dorothy, right?
Yeah. Beyonce
So?
was like, I'm not doing this. They're like, but we were gonna do another season. Yeah, I'm out of here. So I'm leaving now.
Was Sophia on Golden Palace?
Yeah.
Do you want to know?
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish.
No, I was gonna say they spring Sophia out of the old people's home. Dorothy marries Leslie Nielsen, and then they get a hotel. And Cheech Marin's there.
I like the little addendum. And Cheech Marin's there. You want to know how bad this show is? Kim Cattrall was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I can't stand Sarah Jessica Parker. I will not pretend like I like Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't want to do this anymore. No. Oh, she's really upfront about it now. She's just like, no, I don't like you. And you found out at the end of, I don't know, because I stopped watching the second season, that literally, I imagine them just backing up a Brinks truck to Kim Cattrall's house. And I think it was like the head of HBO was like, can you please just do a cameo on this show? And she was like, well, I need A, B, and C. And like one of them was Patricia Field doing the clothing because she's normally busy. And they were like, done. And she's like, and I'm not like going to show up on set with anybody or anything. And they're like, done. Like they gave her whatever her stipulations were for her to have this scene in the season finale of season 2. Because everybody was like, mm-hmm.
And so she's not in the scene with any of the other girls?
No, she's on the phone with Carrie. And she's like in a car being driven to the airport or something. And so they have her on the phone talking with her. So
what
like,
is it called?
In the scene. And just like that.
Oh, good Lord.
It's
but if it's all of them, except for Samantha, if it's Carrie's show, isn't it just Sex in the City again?
Yes. And they 100% used that everyone who loves Sex in the City was going to be like more Sex in the City. And then when everybody was like, what is this? They were like, well, we weren't making Sex in the City. And I'm like, but you're using everybody and you have the history of it in there. I mean, like Mario Cantone is in it. Charlotte's husband. They call back to the wife that Big had where he cheated with Carrie. Like everything. Like they were calling back stuff.
Big, right?
Yeah, they killed Big
in the second movie, I think.
No, they killed him in the show. They killed him in the first episode of the show.
Oh, he didn't die in the movie? I only saw the second movie once.
Yeah, no, he died in the show.
There was a second movie.
Yeah, it's the one where they go to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. And it's just, but literally you watch, it's Miranda's storyline. It's Cynthia Nixon's life, essentially.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. And it's just like, and then she said something and I'm like, well, Cynthia, it's transparent. Everybody knows what you're doing. Like, it's not, you're not fooling anybody by it being Miranda. And it really felt to me like no one wanted to make her life story. So she just crammed it into Sex and the City and they let her. And it's horrible. And that's what this Beau DeMayo thing feels like. Like he was trying to put himself in something because himself alone doesn't sell.
Well, creativity is dead. And modern day writers, all they know how to do is do self-inserts. That's why every video game character needs to be a fugly, waffle iron faced land whale. Because it's a bunch of fugly, waffle iron faced land whales who are making video games and they don't know how to do anything that's not them.
You know, that's the thing that kills me. I guess that's why I said the fanfic thing. That's what it feels like. It just feels like someone wrote fanfic on like Wattpad or something and we're like, I want to make it into a show. Give me money. Okay.
Makes sense. All right, guys. Anything else you guys wanted to discuss this week? I feel like I'm still running on borrowed time with the hurricane. So
you need to make peace with
here's
it.
a question. Here's a question for you guys. What do you think is the greatest spin-off of all time? Like greatest
Yeah.
I was gonna say Frasier probably, which is hysterical because it's one of the most successful TV shows of all time, spun off from one of the most successful TV shows of all time.
And it lasted longer
challenge.
or the same amount of seasons, I think. How long was Cheers on? Was it 10 seasons or 11?
Cheers was 10 seasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheers was 10 seasons. And Kelsey Grammer showed up on that show in like season 3, I think. He played Frasier for like 20 years straight.
Yeah. And now he's doing it again.
Whenever I happen to come across an old episode of Cheers, it takes like really until the 4th season where it starts to feel timeless. Like those first two seasons, you're very much like, oh, this feels old. And you sit there and go, where's Frasier? Because I cannot think
he's
of a
coming.
time. Yeah, I was like, I can't think of a time where there was not a Frasier. And then finally he shows up, like, oh, thank God, Frasier's here.
Yeah. Well, it's when Diane leaves and she comes back engaged to Frasier.
Yes.
Best part is I think they had taken a poll about who people would want on a spinoff. Like, I don't remember, like Woody, something, and like Frasier got like the lowest percentage in the poll. Like nobody was like, I don't know, see a Frasier show, but they were like, well, we're making a Frasier show, and then it turned out everyone loved it. But it was funny. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
If they did like Norm or like Cliff, like that wouldn't have worked.
No,
Woody,
I can't remember
it
who
wouldn't
it
have worked.
was.
They're better. Those are good background characters. Frasier was the only other one who could carry a show, I think.
What was the name of
you and Kimmy are saying Friends was a spinoff of. He said Friends is a spinoff of Man About You. I remember it was Phoebe's sister Ursula was the one that was on there.
And it's funny because I liked Man About You.
I like Man About You also.
I don't like Friends, so it's kind of funny that.
Trish.
If you consider that if Friends is actually a spinoff of Man About You, that's got to be the biggest case of a spinoff eclipsing the original show, right?
Yeah,
I will challenge. Trish just brought up Kelsey Grammer, The Simpsons with Tracy Ullman.
That's true. Actually,
that is true.
Yeah,
forgot that was a spinoff
because it's like it's so long at this point. You know.
The well, I'm trying to think of other really good spinoffs. Laverne and Shirley. I mean, how many did Happy Days spin off? It spun off Laverne and Shirley. It spun off Mork and Mindy. There were others too.
I think the combo is why I still say Frasier.
Joni Loves Chachi, yeah.
Why I would still argue Frasier is A, it was on 11 seasons, and B, it won a butt ton of awards.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And the ratings I think were always good. So
probably
Saved by the Bell was a spinoff, if I'm correct.
Hold on, Kev, what were you saying?
Good morning, Miss Bliss. I was like, maybe the number 2 slot goes to the Jeffersons.
Yeah. The Jeffersons was a spinoff. Saved by the Bell. Well, did Good Morning Miss Bliss ever actually air?
Yeah.
Or did they
It aired on the Disney Channel, but it's Saved by the Bell is more of a reboot. As opposed to
because if you watch Miss Bliss, there's like not Slater.
Well, you know what? Let's get an informed opinion on this, guys. Spencer McCooley of Bounding Into Comics is here.
Finally here. I'm finally here.
What other stream? What other stream are you doing?
So, for those of you who don't know, over at the Rippaverse, their social media manager Andrew Rodriguez, he and we started a comic book live stream where we talk about the week's comic books, and because of all the scheduling and stuff, it is on Thursday, same day as Tooney Talk TV. But I pushed it so that there should only be like an hour of overlap between our shows, so that I can always come here. We just got it was our second episode, and we don't have everything done. So our segments went longer than we meant them to. We engaged too much with the chat over what we were supposed to. So
I hear you.
Yeah, that's all that.
Kevin and I were on an episode of the Pro Show with him.
No. You were what?
I believe he was on the episode. Your co Andrew.
Yeah.
He was on an episode of the Pro Show with us.
Yes, he was. Sorry, that reaction was a little strong because I thought you said you and Kevin were on a show with me, a Pro Show, and I went, "What? Yeah. I would have known if I was with Kevin. What are you talking about?"
You know what, Spencer? I will tell you, Kev made his That Game Place debut today.
Did you? What? Which video?
The two of us recorded with Culture about Dragon Age.
Well, I mean, you are the only two people who have pre-ordered it, so
that's what we said, because we were talking about there's an article that says that the Dragon Age pre-sales are actually doing really well, and we were like, is it just because we pre-ordered it?
It's just what is it? It's like pre-orders jumped by 200% this week, and it's just because you two did it.
Yeah. What possessed you to pre-order
collector's edition?
Well, you guys love that franchise.
We do. We're loyal to the franchise, and we want to review it. So
okay, that's fair.
I am hopeful that the story blows my socks off, but that's all I got.
I feel like that's hopeful that you could be positive about at this point because it's a continuation, right? Like it's going with Solas's story, so at least you'll get that.
Yeah, and I am worried because
how did you pronounce his name?
There was such a
Solas. Soulless.
I've only ever read it. I've only ever read all of it.
Oh, okay. All right, then you're forgiven. It's soulless.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
They went that on the nose with it.
Yeah,
I am worried that I feel like we took such a hard deviation from whatever the original story was supposed to be that I'm like, all right, let's just see.
Well, when the game was called Dread Wolf, it was clearly supposed to be about Soulless.
Yeah, it was supposed to be about him.
Yeah, now from what I've gathered, it's about the elven gods are the villains, and Soulless is like trapped in the veil, and he's like guiding you.
He's the hero now? Guys. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I don't know if he's a hero because he does something pretty heinous in the first. I've watched the first scene. I just
that's
don't
what
want
I mean. Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, hey, we have a lot of dangling threads. They're like, not to derail the conversation, but like, we still haven't resolved what Anders did. Like, we should be touching up on that.
That's got to come into play here.
Like that was a major plot point, and he got like a 3-second mention, and that.
Yeah. Where's Anders? We don't know. Okay, moving on. But the Spencer, we're talking about spin-offs, television spin-offs. What are your favorite television spin-offs?
Oh gosh, I genuinely don't know.
My two favorites other than Frasier are probably
that is one. Yeah,
Angel and Angel and Xena.
Ooh, I always forget Xena is technically a spin-off.
Yeah, she was a villain in the first season of Hercules. So
yeah, that's right.
Trish, why are you doing your happy dance?
Kevin, Melrose Place.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Melrose Place is a spinoff.
All from 90210.
Oh,
I love Melrose Place too.
I like Melrose Place better than 90210.
I actually almost quoted my favorite line. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
I mean, I like Angel more than Buffy.
But you say Buffy's your favorite show, so then is Angel really your favorite show?
Well, the Buffy verse is my favorite show. The two of them together are my favorite show. But I like Angel better than Buffy. I like Angel's team way more than I like Buffy's team.
Do you remember when they brought in Spike?
I can get behind that.
Of course, I remember when they brought in Spike. It was excellent
because they were like, you know what the show needs? A better vampire.
No, it did not need a better vampire. Interloper. It needed the good banter between two excellent characters. Shut up, Trish.
No,
you don't want to have this conversation. You don't want to have this argument with me, Trish, when I have the power to mute you forcibly.
Whoa! What in the Beau DeMayo is going on here? Abusive
You
power.
look like you don't have an argument. I'll just look like I'm right.
Oh,
dang, she's got you.
By the way,
to silence
shout out
my
to the
voice.
DS9 drop in the chat. Good job, boys.
By the way, so let's touch on this very briefly. I don't want to actually report on it because we don't know if it's real or not.
Yes,
but there was an article. There was an article floating around saying that Kurtzman got fired from Star Trek.
Yeah, I saw that article too, and I've been taking the same caution as you have, Marvin.
Nobody can confirm it. Like not even Doomcock's not even running with it.
But that source too, express.co.uk, they are notorious for just writing crap.
That's what I've heard, and so I've seen no other outlet report it.
Yeah,
I've only seen one tweet about it.
I was waiting for a YouTube video that said Hollywood spies can confirm, but it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, so
I'm
this
holding
morning,
out hope.
I said it to Kev this morning, and I was like, "Oh my god, could it possibly be? Are we finally rid of him?" But I don't know.
Get rid of him and put what's his name in charge, the Picard guy, Terry Mathless.
Yeah. That's he's got a new show though. I can't.
Yeah, he's doing something.
Yeah,
it's something big too.
Yeah.
Just wait until Seth MacFarlane is done with the Orville, and then let Seth MacFarlane do it.
I know,
guys. I think there's a better choice for a Star Trek lead. Kathleen Kennedy, obviously, she's gonna have an opening at some point.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
her leap from production to acting. You're right.
I actually
that was so snarky. Like dripping in it.
Look, when you're forced to sit through the Acolyte because that's your job and you can't do anything about it, you got to direct your anger somewhere.
This is true.
Poor Nolan.
This is true. I feel that in my soul.
Right, I know Marvin would sympathize.
No, and actually, I'm gonna have to sit through it again because
why?
on Pro's channel, we're going to be doing a charity stream where like Culture and I think maybe Ron, I'm going to be watching it with Lauren, and Lauren's going to be watching it for the first time.
Oh man.
Lauren,
on one hand, I'm
trooper.
like, that's awesome. On the other, I care about you.
Well, I think I'm involved. I think I'm involved in it. We were kind of talking about it, about the stream happening at some point with Lauren, and then today I said to Culture, I was like, "Hey, can I get in on that?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So
like,
I'm assuming that I can get in on it.
I'd be there to witness Lauren's pain.
Well, it'll be live streamed, so and all the super chats will be for charity. I know a lot of talks are going on about it behind the scenes, so I don't know what I'm allowed.
Everybody
to say.
has to watch it with Lauren because it needs to be like the end of the original Guardians. You just have to put your hands on him so that he can channel the suck and not die from it.
Yes. Oh, poor Lauren. I think we've all like Lauren's reaction to Agatha has been so great because Lauren said earlier in the show he's thankful to all of us for saying that it was so bad that it was painful because he watched it and it was just kind of crappy.
I would like to say
the other night.
I would like to say that was mostly you, Marv, because Kevin and I were like, we don't hate it, we don't like it, but we don't hate it.
Kevin hates it.
We were more, well, I don't know about now, but I'm talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
We were just like,
why are we putting Kevin on the spot here? What did he do to deserve this?
He remembers what he said last week.
I didn't think it was particularly offensive. I think its biggest it's just insanely boring. And this week's episode, I was like, there's nothing to talk about. Nothing happened. I feel bad for everybody who is making reaction videos to this. I do not know how they're going to get more than 8 minutes of content out of total.
And then meanwhile, across the street at DC, they put out the first episode of The Penguin, and boom, that show should be a phenomenon. It was so good.
I have heard that show is incredible. I know you asked us before the stream if we had watched it. I haven't, because I haven't even watched The Batman yet, but I've heard nothing but good things about The Penguin.
Spencer and I are in the same boat.
It's not even a lack of like I don't want to watch it. It's just sort of like I just.
Why did you take that as an insult? I was all excited I wasn't alone.
Oh no, I'm not defending you. I'm talking to the audience. I'm saying I don't look at the movie and go, oh god, I don't want to watch The Batman. It's more just like
God, I don't want to be on
I haven't gotten around to it.
It shows how relevant that film
you
is.
and I are we're better than them, okay, Trish? Let's just be real.
Yeah, I forgot when I was.
We have 3 hours of our lives that we didn't spend watching that movie.
That's very true. You didn't have to incessantly hear the same single note. Bum, 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 bum,
I saw a compilation of that on YouTube. I was laughing so hard.
It was
all the time.
It was in the very beginning of Penguin. It was in the very beginning of Penguin. It kind of tied the Batman and Penguin together, and then they never played it again.
Oh, God.
Okay, that makes a little sense.
Oh, I was so happy. Something.
Here comes the Batman. He's gonna fight, guys. Riddler is out there. You can just sing any words you want to it.
You really could.
Can we all agree, though, at least it's better than Batman v Superman? Blah, 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 blah.
Or whenever Wonder Woman shows up at all in any.
I liked that Wonder Woman theme, but it was so out of place in that movie.
Yeah.
Well, because you know what, you needed the wrestling pop moment. It was like Austin's glass breaking. She's gonna do something. We're playing the Xena-esque music. Doom, 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 doom. Oh, she's gonna do something.
Yeah. Butterbiscuit 92 for $2 says, Marvin, that theme is great. Don't be Jonas now. You're right. I like the Batman. I liked it a lot more than I thought I was gonna like it, and it's the same. Like Joker was the same way with me. I went into Joker thinking it was going to be absolute garbage, and I walked out being like, that wasn't bad. Now I don't think I'm going to have a very similar experience when I walk out of Foi Adieu, but
I had the same experience with Joker that I had with Logan. I was like, that was okay. I kind of liked it.
Oh, I hate Logan.
I never need to see this movie ever again for the rest of my life.
hate Logan. I thought it was so
Really?
stupid. I was like, why do you have the Ravagers and you don't have not Ravagers, the name of the like why do you have these, why do you have Death Strikes? Yeah, why do you have the Reavers and you don't have Deathstrike with them? Why is Sabretooth not the
He
villain
was already
in this?
dead.
Yeah.
That was not Deathstrike. You could have actually
That was
done
Lady Deathstrike. What are you talking about?
You could have actually done Yuriko and actually done their story and actually had it be like she was such a one-note character in X-Men 2.
We only have comic accurate X-Men because Ryan Reynolds was like, I want to use Colossus and the Juggernaut properly.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even do Juggernaut right.
I know. But at least I was like, well, at least there's a reason for him to be in the costume they gave him.
It was more just that I felt that he looked really bad in, like, the CG for him was really bad in Deadpool 2, to the point where it looked like it was previs stuff that they just released as a full movie. So I've never been able to get past that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a John JID 999 super chat for 199. New Captain America movie / this is missing Cap, and yes, he's great. He's talking with the Thunderbolts. Yes, 100%.
No,
and
you know why?
the Thunderbolts.
You know why? No, this is why. You guys are probably factually correct, but if Cap is anywhere near that movie, Bucky will be sidelined again, and I can't take it one more time. Okay,
understood.
You can't put me through that.
He's
one more
already
time.
gonna be.
Tell him like it is, Trish.
Well, and the problem
Enough.
with the problem with the Thunderbolts movie is also it doesn't have Thunderbolt Ross in it.
Well, because John Hurt was on the "We Don't Talk About You" list for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, William Hurt.
Yeah, but they recast him as Harrison Ford now.
Yeah, he's around. Like the character still exists.
Yeah, he got in trouble and then he passed away.
Harrison Ford is probably like, no, I'm not doing this in 2 movies.
Well, it might be because Harrison Ford's not making it out of Captain America: Brave New World.
I don't know. I feel like I don't think you back up that Brinks truck that they gave to Harrison Ford and not have the ability to use him at least one more time.
Or maybe
they're desperate right now. That's my only counter is that they're so desperate that they're just throwing things at the wall, and it's like, okay, fine, get him back for one movie. I don't care. It's Harrison Ford. That's recognizable, right? Right?
Maybe Thunderbolt Ross is in the movie, and they're just not they're not showing it yet because they don't want to spoil Captain America.
Yeah.
That could also possibly be it.
Well, that was the original synopsis was that everybody thought they were supposed to be fighting the Red Hulk.
Yeah, he was the Red Hulk. I think was in the original concept art with the team.
When does the Captain America movie come out?
I think February.
I think it's
Valentine's Day next year, baby.
Okay,
you can go
romantic.
next year. You can go and you can get your sweetheart or your honey if you're a lady, and on the way to take her to take them to see Captain America for a date, you can stop at GameStop and pick up Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yes.
What a day!
Black History Month, guys. We get Falcon, Captain America, and Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Why are we jamming all this crap into Black History Month? It's already the shortest, coldest month there is. Why do you guys pressure everybody?
Because as it says under your name, it's the Obsidian Shield. Yes. February.
That's a cooler name for what it is. That's too cool a name for what it is.
February is serving the same. February is serving the same purpose for the movie studios that you are serving on this show.
That's right. We just need to do an opening skit, and we just need to reenact the Batman Gordon talk. You tell them I said it. I can take it, but they'll cancel you. You send the blue hairs.
I'm picturing that Two-Face scene, but instead
Hold on, let him do the joke.
It's all right. We got there. What's when they're standing over Two-Face's body?
Yes,
right. The moment's gone. But anyway,
that wasn't in that. The moment's gone.
No, we've had that conversation many times. Tell him I said it. And I'm like, I can't do that. All right, I know. I feel bad because Spencer just got here, but we are nearing 11.
Yeah,
we are nearing 11 o'clock,
I know what's up.
I'm in the midst of a hurricane, so we probably should finish up. Guys, thank you so much for being with us here tonight. All of you that super chatted, all of you that chatted, all of our new members, all of our existing members, everyone who gifted a membership. You guys are just absolutely incredible. You guys have a power level beyond all imaginations. In fact,
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right.
you guys are the over 9,000. We love you guys to the moon and back. Thank you very much.
I can't wait for us to get over 9,000 subscribers.
I know it's gonna. I'm gonna play that clip so much.
It'll just be one of those 24-hour live streams that just plays that clip over and over and over and over.
Spencer, tell the good folks at home where they can find more about you and what you're up to.
Absolutely. If you guys want to see more of me, want to hang out with me, you can check out boundingintocomics.com where we're throwing up news every day. You can check out the Bounding Into Comics YouTube channel where we stream on Wednesdays. You can check out the Foil Variant YouTube channel where we stream on Thursdays right before Tooney Talk TV where we talk comic books. And you can check out Studio Kabuto where I stream on Fridays where we talk about whatever the heck. So if any of that's up your alley, come hang out. But more than anything, check out what everybody here has going on. I know they've got a lot of good stuff in the works. And yeah, if you're here, you should be subscribed to Marvin already. But if you're not, I will find you.
All right, Nolan Thunder, you've got so much going on over on your channel, over on Pro's channel. Tell folks more about where they can find you.
All right, you can find me on Nolan Thunder. I have a lot of documentaries out currently on a lot of video game mysteries and lost media stuff happening. I have a recent one on Slamfest 99, which was a big event that happened in Nevada with a bunch of live-action Nintendo characters that disappeared off the face of the web. And then I got a new documentary that's been in development on apparent artificial intelligence that was experimental, might have been existing in one of our cherished Mario games. I can't talk tonight. And I'm also on That Game Place with Spencer, Marvin, all the cool people, and we give some
Oh yeah,
takes.
I forgot. Dang it.
Yes. And apparently you'll be seeing Kevin on there soon here. So
look at that, Spencer. I'm not the only person that forgot you were on That Game Place.
Just
you also forgot that you were on That Game Place.
My leverage, it's gone.
Sorry, no, continue.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Kevin up.
Oh my goodness. All right. So Trish, what do you got going on? What's
I'm still
up in
waiting
your life?
on you, Marv. It's all on you, buddy.
What for us to do the supernatural
I'm not
reaction?
rushing you, but it's just, it's whenever
No,
you're
you know what?
ready
You
for
should
it.
be rushing me because I really want to get that happening. We're going to do members only content. We're going to watch Supernatural. We're going to watch Buffy. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. And
You gotta rush him, Trish. There's like
I
40
joke-
seasons to that show.
I mean, I joke, but I actually am conscious. Like, I don't want to be like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" Like, I don't
No,
like being.
you
like
have
that,
to.
so-
No, Trish, you have to
Okay,
do that.
all right.
I'm so busy that you have to do that
Every day.
So, yeah, literally.
I'm just gonna send you pictures
have
of
my
Jensen Ackles every day.
You already do that.
You got to change the.
Absolutely
You got to change what steaming the camera Jensen Ackles photo you're going to send.
See, that's the trick. You ask her which one she has to send, then she has to go look through the archives, and then she gets distracted, and it never happens.
I'm gonna send you Soldier Boy Jensen Ackles because that's Chef's Kiss Jensen Ackles. All right. So
Kevin Apollo, you put out an amazing video today. Your video on our members only section of the channel regarding gender theory and Dragon Age was exceptional. It was fantastic. People in the chat are John's raving about it in the chat right now. A bunch of people have been very complimentary about that. What else you got going on?
I don't know. I'll be back here with you guys. I'm going to try to badger Trish into doing our paternity court show over the weekend. Because I have it all thought out. We're gonna rate the names on a scale of normal to super ratchet, and then
Judge Judy too. I'm telling you, dude.
And then the gentleman on the panel. What was it? Was it normal to normal to simp to moron. I don't remember. I don't
Something
know
like
what it was.
that.
It's in the Twitter machine somewhere. I'll dig it up. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with it.
All right. And of course, we've got Tooney Talk Wrestling on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So hope we catch all you guys there as well. We are going to be going live for all wrestling pay-per-views and PLEs. That includes AEW pay-per-views, which makes me want to jump out the window, and WWE Bad Blood coming up soon, which is going to be a lot of fun. Also, if you're not a member of the channel yet, you're going to get a lot of cool exclusive content, including our members only exclusive live stream tomorrow at 2 p.m. As long as I have power in my house. We will, we always love
saying that. You make me so worried.
We always love bringing you guys that exclusive content, the early access to all of our daily videos. So please, guys, join the Tooney Town community today. I'm seeing a lot of green in the chat already. It makes me very, very happy. And tell a friend about the show. We're trying to grow this stream on Thursday nights. So bring a friend, and you won't get a prize, but you will get the prize of my respect and admiration and appreciation. So, folks, thank you very much for joining us. From all of us here at the Tooney Town channels, I am Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!
Now, Perry the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator!
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing. Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what?
Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you.
And viewers like